Hello there. Good morning, or should I say good afternoon here from France. This is Adriel tuning live on italki.com/I stay at home. So I would just like to see if some of you are here today. It looks like I made a slight error yesterday. I apologize for that. I mixed up my dates. I was supposed to present on CV and also on improving your CV as well as improving your interviewing skills yesterday. But I actually did small talk just to start off the week. So apologies for that if some of you had tuned in expecting something different. But today I'm going to make it up to you, and I'm going to present on improving your CV as well as interviewing skills. So before we begin with that, I just want to know if anyone is there on YouTube, and if there's anyone there on the I Stay at Home page that can say hello. So, all right, I have Emma. All right, so I have Emma from France. I believe from the Loire, maybe. We might have spoken last week. And Marina is here with us. And we also have Irene or Irene from, well, Japanese, but are you calling from Japan? I also have Alessandra calling today. Okay, so I have a few people that I am familiar seeing. Is anyone on YouTube right now? Anyone tuned in on YouTube at the moment? Can you say hello if you're on YouTube? And keep in mind, just one important detail about YouTube. Again, I will say this every single time, but when you are on YouTube, please make sure you change from top chat to live chat and make sure that you're logged in. So when you're logged in, you can comment on the YouTube page. So far I have Irene. Okay, and from Spain. And looks like we have two Irenes right now. We also have Barbara from Spain, Lidka from Slovakia. Okay, all right. All right, so Dobry Jen, and Marina from Luxembourg, and Sergio from Spain, and and also someone from Hungary. What's your name? It looks like your name is Hello, I'm from Hungary. Do you have a name? Just so in case you respond more. But it's good to see you. Good to see you all today. Again, I'll just say it in the languages. Buongiorno, bonjour, yo napokivanok, and guten Tag, and buenos dias. So again, very, very good to see you all here today. And we're going to start today, talk about improving your CV and your interviewing skills. So please, you can, let's see here. So again, going into the presentation, when you have to improve your interviewing skills or your CV, I have students right now, and I have had students that are very interested in improving these skills. Very important, especially in the world of language learning or business English. This is part of my business English classes. This is an important thing to make sure that you manage and maintain over time as you're learning English. You never know when you might need to have a CV or an interviewing opportunity in English. So these are two things to think about a lot. So let's see. All right. So I'm going to continue here. Again, let's look at the opening quote here. The success of your presentation will be judged not by the knowledge you send, but by what the listener receives. So again, this is by Lily Walters. And do you agree with this quote? And what does Walters mean in this quote? What are some examples here? Some of you might have sat in this class before, so maybe you could tell me, what Lily Walters means by this quote. That would be interesting to know. So if you're on YouTube as well, looks like there's a lot of you on YouTube right now. We are presenting about improving your CV as well as your interviewing skills. So whatever you'd like to comment about regarding the presentation, or if you have questions for me, or if you have questions for each other during the chat, please, this is your opportunity to practice your English free of charge. So let's see. No one so far, but Again, what does Walters mean by this quote? And do you agree with this quote? Again, the success of your presentation will be judged not by the knowledge you send, but by what the listener receives. Okay, so does anyone want to answer this? um, Remember, if you're logging in on YouTube, make sure you go to live chat to comment. Okay, live chat. And let's see, anyone from the I Stay at Home page? Let's see, I'm going to refresh here. Okay, nothing so far. I'll wait for your comments to come in, but again, this is a very important quote because we're talking about, right, the ability to present yourself, right? And again, what kind of personality are you? How does it affect the way you present yourself to others? How do you present yourself at work or outside of work? So tell me just some information that you'd like to tell me about yourself or about how you present yourself, because this information is very important when you're presenting yourself professionally. So this is something to keep in mind. So I have a comment here from, let's see, from Barbara. I agree. You need to show yourself in a good way. That's how you would say it, yourself. I have a comment here from Emma. The way you write information is important. Okay. All right. Good. Anyone on YouTube watching right now want to comment on how to present yourself the best way, or how you usually present yourself? Again, you don't have to be shy. You can comment. There's no right, there's no wrong answers. So whatever you feel is an appropriate answer to the discussion, you can answer here on the slide. So let's see. No one so far on YouTube, but yeah, I have some good comments here already from I Stay at Home, the landing page. So does anyone agree, maybe, for example, that there's a specific way to present yourself at work and a specific way to present yourself outside of work? It depends on your job, of course, but in your job, for example, in your job, do you have a specific way you're supposed to present yourself, especially maybe to clients, maybe to others professionally? All right, so I have one comment here from Daniel. Daniel says, I think it's about not giving a dense, complicated presentation, but one attuned to the public you are giving your presentation to. Okay, that's a good comment. Yeah, that's good. And yeah, again, remember, it's important really to know who is in front of you when you're developing your CV, or when you're developing your your interviewing skills or presentation skills. These are things that are all connected, and they're different ways of presenting yourself, right? Different talented ways of presenting yourself. So, okay, I have no comments from YouTube today, so I don't know if you are maybe if you thought maybe it would be a different presentation today, but you can comment. So hopefully you're able to switch to live chat and comment. But yeah, so again, you can talk more about how you present yourself, but when you're presenting, remember, it's important to be yourself. It's important to be yourself. Now, in the end, what makes a good presenter? A professional appearance, good eye contact, an enthusiastic attitude, body language. What else makes a good presenter? So what else can you give me as in terms of, let's think about general presentation. Let's also think about maybe the importance of presenting yourself on your CV, or presenting yourself on your during your interview. So let's see. Yeah, so Irene says, I came here, I was kind of lonely on YouTube. Yeah, there really is no one commenting on YouTube. It's very interesting, because I see that at least 18 of you are watching. So if you're watching, I want you to present yourself. Please, I want to, this is your opportunity to practice English with a native speaker and with other great people learning their English as their second, maybe third, maybe even fourth language. So please, yeah. So let's see. So okay, good. So Emma's saying that already saw this last week. Yep. So I was presenting this for the second wave of viewers that had not seen it before. So yes, we'll see you tomorrow. So we have Tigmanshu from India. So it's good to see you. And let's see, no one else for now. But again, okay, good. So Barbara says fluent and correct language. It is a problem when you are nervous. Okay, so that's good. It's a problem when you are nervous. So again, thinking about this, you have to have good eye contact, a good posture, right? So sit up, right? You have to have a good presence, and you have to have sort of a good display of language, So Ruben says maintain activity of the audience makes, so you could say engaging the audience, engaging, right? So engaging, hmm, yeah. So engaging the audience is the situation here. So again, engaging the audience, engaging the person in front of you. So this is something to keep in mind. But most importantly, you have to be yourself. Again, presenting yourself, being yourself. Let's not forget our use of the gerund here in this situation. So moving forward, right, working on your CV. This is a brief summary, but something you might find very useful. Have you ever written a CV? When was the last time you updated it? How long is your CV? Are your photos required in your country for CVs? What is your opinion on this? So again, just a few comments there. What again? What? Okay, so I have Okay, so Irene says, how about voice tone? So you could say tone of voice. Tone of voice is a good comment there. I have Marina saying the listener can receive the emotional component of knowledge. For example, fear during a presentation on an incurable disease. Okay, so the emotional component is important. Yeah, yeah. So tone of voice. Yeah. Okay. So your tone, the how you emphasize the information. Right. This is very important as well. Let's see. And again, have you ever written a CV? And when was the last time you updated it? How long is your CV? Are photos required in your country for CVs? What's your opinion on this? Again, tell me. What can you tell me about this? So again, if anyone would like to comment about their information about a CV, this is your opportunity to talk about it today during the class. So I'll let you know, my CV is a page and a half long. That is after, I would say, nearly 8 years of professional work experience. That's 8 years, a page and a half long. And a lot of information on that CV has been removed over time. So let's talk basics here. When you're writing a CV, the most important thing to keep in mind is what work experience should you list that's most relevant for the job. So, for example, I have seen CVs before where people wrote, maybe they did, I've seen they were 3 or 4 page long CVs. They were very long CVs. And I thought to myself, again, what was up with that? So I would look at the job descriptions, and they would have maybe an internship or some kind of small job they did for 1 month, 1 month straight. So again, a little bit, how do I say, a little bit complicated because it makes me show that they never settled for anything. They never did anything that was consistent that they did for a long period of time. This is something that's important. Again, so you have to put coherent information. You have to have the information listed so that you have everything. in a way that's clear, that it's well divided, that it shows a life story when you're writing your CV. So just look at a few of the answers here. I have one from Irene. The last time I've updated my CV was several months ago, if not a year. But let's see. But in my job, you get little merits often. Okay, so you mean like merits? You mean you get benefits, or explain what merits mean in this situation. So I have Irene saying, "What kind of information is it best to put in a CV when one does not have working experience?" Yeah, now that is a big one because, not too long ago, you could apply for a job and you didn't have to worry about, again, about not having work experience. There were a lot of jobs where there were no previous experience required. Now, unfortunately, the market is more competitive. There's more job applicants. And now they ask everybody to have at least a year or 2 years of experience. So what do you do to get work experience? Well, you have to go with what's called an entry-level job. All right. So I started an entry level job working at a coffee shop, and it was the worst job I ever had in my life. It was a terrible job, and I did not like anything about it. But I did like one thing. I liked the customer service. I liked the customers. I liked talking to the customers, and I liked helping them. Now, that was something I knew that I had an ability to do early on. So I had no previous work experience, and I knew I had a way of engaging with people, right? So that's important. I had that. Again, that's what we would call that a soft skill in your CV. We'll talk about that in a minute. But when I found out that I had those skills and I found out that this was not a job for me, I went into a different job, which was in retail. And retail is a little bit slower than working in a coffee shop. So you have more time to talk, you have more time to sell things. You don't have to spend a long time not doing anything. You have to work a lot, but it was a different thing. So I realized that I found my work environment. Now, it wasn't a very good job, but I liked the people and I liked doing the work. So when I got a better job, I already had 2 years of experience. So what we have to do is get what's called an entry level job. Yeah. Now, let's see, just talking about photos. In Colombia, it's important that your CV comes with a nice photograph on your face. Litka says, I updated my CV in March, and photos are required in Slovakia, Austria, and Germany. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I think they're required in quite a lot of countries. Barbera, I mean certificates. Ah, yeah, good. So you get certificates. You get things that you can sort of mention maybe in your CV or mention as part of your work experience. Okay. Irene says photo is mandatory in Japan on your CV. Okay, good. Dima says it's not necessary to attach a photo in my country, Belarus, but it'll probably be a disadvantage if you don't have any. Okay. Got it. So again, there's the question about the photo. I had someone say last week that maybe it could also cause discrimination, or it could cause someone to not choose your application. So be very careful with the photo and see if maybe you need a photo. If you don't, I say probably better not to have a photo. But if you do, then you need to have a photo. Now, have you ever applied for a job or internship, and how many? Were your job searches successful? As in, do you still have the job, right? And last but not least, have you ever received advice from a career coach? If so, how did it go? Again, how did it go? So what was tell me some information about your job search in the past, and if you need a career coach. Well, what do you think is a career coach? Can you give me an example of a career coach? Now, this is something that I went and saw in my university a while ago. I had a career coach. Now, that was good, but at the same time, it wasn't very helpful because, again, I didn't really find a job based on their advice. So you have to ask yourself too: is a career coach something that's useful for me? Right? Is it something I need? Again, what is a career coach? It's like any kind of coach. they coach you, right? They coach you, as the verb goes. They coach you on finding a job. They coach you on presenting yourself professionally. These are big things to think about. All right, so finally, I have a comment from YouTube. Yay! It's good to see you. That was exciting. I'm so glad that you came in. So I have a comment from YouTube. Is there a way to create a good cover letter, or just a thing in the UK or worldwide? So we're going to talk about cover letters. Cover letters are something that I think are absolutely necessary for, well, I would say most jobs now. Just because I feel like a lot of people, they will not hire anymore just based off your CV. They want to see how you present yourself. They want to see how you write. They want to see how you transmit information. So this is a big deal now, and as we call it in English, a deal breaker. It changes the game, right? It changes the entire process. So, let's see. I have some questions about the career coaches. Irene says it's common. Is it common to get advice from a career coach? Now, I don't know. I mean, it depends. In your country, I know in the United States there are lots of career coaches. You know, in the United States, there's a lot of entrepreneurs. So part of their job is to help people get jobs. Daniel says, I didn't know there were career coaches. It would be very helpful for me. Yeah. Well, you could find the equivalent of a career coach in your country. Or if you moved to the UK, like I have a comment here from YouTube, Christina. I'm from Argentina now, and I am living in the UK. Yeah. And hello, Shun. Can you tell me where you're from today? That would be very nice. So Marina says the advice from my career coach was not useful. So I guess it depends what your career coach is looking at. Again, I think a career coach is like a teacher, right? I mean, sometimes there are good teachers, sometimes there are not so good teachers, and it might not just and it might not be actually their fault. It might just be their method doesn't match your sort of your method of learning or your method of understanding information. So the important thing is to find a career coach, if you need one, that fits your vision. You know, they see things the way you see it, and they want you to be yourself, you know. So because there's nothing worse than having an unhelpful career coach. That's time and money wasted. So we won't want that, right? So all right, so let's move on, because we want to talk a little bit about what we can do personally. Ruben says, I think career coaches are more usual in companies for internal yeah, for growing careers, maybe for advancing the careers. Well, it depends kind of what you could rewrite that. Maybe let me know what you mean to say. Okay, so for CVs to stand out, again, when we say stand out, we mean for CVs to make a good impression, right? For them to, they need to present a picture of who you truly are. First, know how to present your skills. What are your hard skills? What are your soft skills? So I mentioned this just a second ago, well, maybe not a second, a few minutes ago, but the idea of the differences between hard skills and soft skills. So what is the difference of a hard skill and a soft skill? Can you tell me? Let's see. Dima says, career coaches helping you understand how to get a particular job or what area you should work. I would say they do both. I would say they ask you, right? I think that they do different things. They help you write your CV so that you have a good CV. They also help you apply for jobs correctly in the end, because if you apply for an, let's say for example, you know, let's go back to my story where I was good at customer service. Okay, so I'm good at customer service in retail, and I decide to take a job as a, I don't know, a consulting agent for a retail company. Now it's this. Now I know the retail business, but do I know how to be a consultant for the retail business? No. So the idea is to have your skills developed that show that you're capable of doing a very different kind of job. In the United States, we are used to people applying for many different kinds of jobs and getting different jobs, changing careers, changing industries. We see it all the time in the United States. However, as I understand it, after living in France for 4 years, people really want to see why you're applying for the job. They need to see a logical sort of progression. So, for example, when I arrived in France, I applied for every single kind of retail job. The only people that called me back were people that worked in wine retail because that's what I specialized in for almost 6 years. So, from that point of view, you can't, even if maybe I'm really good at my social skills and my customer service skills, they're not going to hire me for a cheese shop because I have no experience working with cheese. Now, in the United States, that's not always the case. Sometimes they take you in if you already have some good skills, organizational skills and social skills and customer service. They're like, it's okay, we'll teach you how to do this, and then you know how to do the rest, right? So it's kind of an interesting thing. It's a different mentality, maybe. So I'm getting some comments from YouTube. So Christina says hard skills, something you're qualified to do. Yeah. So it's your technical skills. So for example, if you're very good at management or you're very good at accounting or something, that's a hard skill. And a soft skill. Pavel is asking, is it soft skills? Is it something you don't know very well? Well, no, it sounds maybe that it's not as important, but a soft skill is a different kind of skill. So if a hard skill means something that you have a technical, you're trained to do, you have a qualification to do, then what is a soft skill? That's the question. What is a soft skill? So again, let's see. No one's answered yet. Maybe in the landing page, some of you are some of you are here. Just checking and seeing if you're around. Okay. So again, a soft skill, right? It's something you do know very well. It's something that's about yourself. Okay. So let's look at that. So hard skills represent how good you are for a job, budgeting, task organizing, that kind of things. And soft skills represent your personality, leadership, intercommunication skills, etc., etc. Very important things. Now, again, what are some other things you should put on your CV to make you stand out from the crowd? Again, what are some when we say stand out from the crowd, we mean, what does that mean when we say stand out from the crowd? Again, what? All right, good. So Irene says this hard skill means certification. It can be. You could be certified to do something. That means you're trained to do something. You went to school. Lidka says soft skills are like empathy, communication. Yeah, but keep in mind, there's a way that you have to represent that. So if you say, for example, I'm a very empathetic person. Okay, cool. So you might be a saint, you might be a wonderful person, but but when someone's looking at this, they need to see that and they need to go, you know, how does your empathy translate to your job? So for example, you could say, I consider myself to be an empathetic leader, I look after other members of my team. I understand their problem from their perspective. Good. Now we have two things going on. You show your personality, you're an empathetic person, and then you also show how that fits into your work flow, right? So these are things that usually you'll say it on your during your interview. You don't have to necessarily say it, but you could use some positive soft skill, words like highly motivated. But here's the problem with that. This is something that I learned the hard way. But again, when we say we want you to stand out, right? We want to make sure that you're different from other people, right? Okay, so let's see some of the comments here. Irene says, do you write a hobby on your CV? Yeah, you can write a hobby on your CV. Or you can also write it on your cover letter if maybe you can talk about, something that you enjoy doing. You could talk about skills, but I think it's more important to put skills that you're good at doing. Like, for example, let's say you are someone that, okay, so I play the guitar, right? Okay. But I never put on my CV plays the guitar. I would only put play the guitar if I had a career or a history where I played the guitar professionally and I performed, or, I would put that there. I would say, I would mention that as something part of my work. But better to put skills that might be useful to your job, like speaks Japanese, English proficiently, Spanish proficiently, proficient at Word, Excel, that kind of thing. So again, yeah, you want to be the best candidate. So when I was learning about CV writing years ago, one thing that I learned was that in CV writing, we talk about something called being a purple cow, right? So you have a herd of cows, and the purple cow is the cow that stands out from the crowd. Again, why do we remember the purple cow? Because it's purple. Basically, that's what it is. So if you can remember a purple cow, it's the same idea. What can you do to have it stand out? I mean, there are other ways you can do it. People have mentioned some creative things. Let's see. Irene says, if you have worked as a volunteer in a refuge, for example, would that be considered a soft skill or a hobby? Well, I would never say that's a hobby. I would say that in fact that is legitimate work experience, because if you're working with other people and you do volunteer work, then that shows that again, you still are developing your hard and soft skills, because you need hard and soft skills to work at a refuge, for example. So again, it really depends how you want to present yourself. You can talk to a career coach if you need that advice, but if you don't know, just think of it this way. Imagine that you presented yourself to you, right? You're presenting yourself to yourself. Do you find yourself interesting? Do you have a story to tell? Do you think about something you're passionate about, right? And really do that without being generic. Use the language that you would use anyways, right? Not that you learn to use. So again, for CVs to stand out, they need to present a picture of who you truly are. So first of all, know how to present so again, the things you don't want to put on your CV are this. So don't turn a CV in with typos. So for example, informed or motivated, right? Be careful with that, and be careful with spell check as well. Okay, just so you know, be very careful with spell check. It might auto correct your word to something that's not very good, right? So we see that happen sometimes. Don't add interests that are of no interest to the employer. So on weekends, I enjoy hanging out with my friends. This is not at all important. It's very useless. It's not something that we're interested in. This is something that an employer can learn about after they hire you. After they hire you, yes. If you become friendly with your employer, maybe you start to talk about things you like to do. That's where you learn about hobbies and those kind of things. But get hired first. What you need to show them is, how are you a good professional candidate? And if you have things you do, like volunteer or things that you're dedicated to doing, you can put it in. Like, for example, I perform in my local choir or my local orchestra. That's pretty interesting. I mean, it's more than just a hobby. It's actually something you're actively doing, and your employer should know that too, right? They should support you. When I got my first job, I used to do Polish folkloric dancing in San Francisco. Yeah, believe it or not. And I told my employer that, and they were super supportive about it because they liked me, I liked them, and they liked that I was doing other things. They even said if I wanted to work as a bartender, have a second job, they were okay with that. You just have to sort of see what your employer expects of you. Again, if your employer doesn't want, and it's different too when it's a full-time job, right? My first job was a part-time job. So do use language that's appropriate for a CV, and do include a cover letter including this professional language, right? So these are important things. So again, so looking at this, so the CV, right? The CV writing, again, we're going to look at a good example of a CV. I'm going to show you this right here. I'm going to share my screen. And when you look at a good CV, it actually isn't anything that's very complicated. So check this out. So looking down here, right, it says here, again, uh, let's see. So it says digital marketing specialist, right? So for example, like I have 5 years experience in various digital marketing roles. I have a proven ability to create successful marketing campaigns. I am a strong collaborator. I have comprehensive experience. These are great things to use. And again, use it in your words. Don't get this CV and copy and paste it and change it. Use your words and say, what did I do? How did I do it? Why did I do it? Really tell people a story, right? And you talk about the employment history, right? You have the dates. Here's a very important thing. Unless something bad happens to you, or it did happen to you, and I apologize if it did, um, make sure you still have a job when you're applying for a new job. Because again, they will be more likely to call you because that means you're already actively working. So that means they don't have to train you. That means that you're looking to go to the next level. It shows that you're a very dedicated and committed kind of worker. And education, you can put skills and interests. Sure, we talked about hobbies, so photography, travel. Just make sure that it's very sort of not too like here it says photography and travel. It's kind of generic. I mean, it's fine, but you could also put something different, like for example, avid photographer of nature or something. I don't know. You could put something that's interesting. I mean, I might call you back just based on something interesting. And references, always remember, do not put your references in right away. Okay, so always ask them to be requested because again, just make sure that the people you put as references, they know that they will be put as references. Okay, so these are important things. So we're going to go back to the slideshow, but let me just look at a few comments here. So Pavel says, could you suggest us a good subject email when we are sending our CVs? I think this is the first barrier. An HR team should have the tones of emails. Well, when you're sending an email, here's what I learned the hard way. Just send the job position, name, and then put your last and first name, and that's it. Don't do anything else. You could say application for, but keep in mind that the subject is all you need to put. You just need to put what job it is and your name, because if they're interested in reading your CV, they will. Now, Christina says the chance that someone reads your CV is 10 in 100. Yes, it is. But here's the thing: if you apply for places that have less applicants, again, maybe it's a job that is a perfect application for you, then they will read every application. They might get 100, but they will quickly look at the CV and say, okay, no work experience, bye. And then they will go down to a very, very few candidates, right? Marina asks, what does it mean informed? Well, that was a typo, remember. It's a typo is a typographic error, okay? So you don't want to have those. It means informed, but the person who wrote this, that's me, made a typo. So keep this in mind. Okay, so these are a few important things based on CVs. Let's go to interviewing. So interviewing is mastering our ability, again, to present ourselves, but also to gain the right opportunities. So what are the best ways to prepare for interviews? Have you ever given a potential employee an interview? Maybe you're an interviewer, right? The person who is being interviewed is the interviewee. So what are you more scared of? Doing interviews or giving presentations? Again, I don't think there's much of a difference between them. I think that if you're good at giving presentations, as in presenting in front of others, then you'll be good at giving an interview. It's okay to be nervous before the interview. I have had that happen to me quite a lot. It's a very scary thing. But again, keep in mind, if you're qualified, present yourself as you're qualified and how are you qualified, right? So what advice do you have for us today? What do you think are some good ways to present for an interview? Again, this might be something very useful to know. And if you want, you can comment on the on YouTube, or you can comment on the I Stay at Home page. So again, we'd love to hear your comments. Just let me know if there's Any questions you have? If anything's unclear or if the vocabulary is unclear, you can ask about it. So, does anyone have any advice on how to give a good interview? A good interview. Anyone know at all? Can you tell me? So I don't have any comments yet. I wonder if you just want me to tell you the answer. I knew it. Okay, I have one person on the live chat saying, Irene from Japan saying, please give some advice not to be nervous at an interview. And Dima says, practice. Yeah, practice is a good way to do that. Again, practice in front of yourself, practice in front of a friend. These are some good things. How to not be nervous in an interview? That's impossible. All of us get nervous at an interview. I get nervous at an interview, but here's the thing. Right now I'm presenting in front of you, right? I'm presenting in front of you. I don't see you, but I know that many of you are watching. But I don't feel nervous. It's okay if you make a mistake or if you stumble or if you go over something. Maybe you could be more organized. Keep it in mind, if you feel like you bombed your interview. When we say bombed, you like did a very bad job at your interview. Well, in English we say we destroy the interview when we did good, really good. We say we bombed it when we did really bad. So it's a different sort of meaning, right? And I think it's okay. Keep in mind that sometimes you could do a pretty bad interview and still get the job, and sometimes you could do a great interview and not get the job. So you have to also think about, did you want to work there, or was that maybe just one work opportunity? Again, the interviewing experience is something that's worth doing many times. When I was trying to get a job years ago in the wine industry, I was already working and I decided to apply to as many jobs as possible. I applied for jobs that I was not qualified for. I applied for jobs that had no interest to me. So I only realized after a while I should not be doing these jobs. But something happened. I did some amazing I had some amazing experience interviewing. That was something that was incredible. And I was very happy to have that opportunity. So the more that you practice, you get to see all kinds of things. You learn all about the tricks, you learn all about the strategies that different employers make. You learn all about the things that are rather complicated or strange. So it's a great thing to do, is to do multiple interviews, even if none of them lead to a job. But it can be exhausting. We do say sometimes that applying for jobs is like working all the time. It's true. You're working all the time. You're traveling, you're practicing, you're giving your energy, you're trying, and you could apply for over 100 jobs. But keep it this way. Think about, okay, if you apply for 100 jobs and you don't get one job, think about it this way. Are you overqualified? Are you underqualified? Are you someone that is not doesn't fit into the culture? Where do you want to work, right? And why? Again, it's very hard to get in. I believe this is the big problem. But find other places you can get in, right? Maybe find out what your dream job is first, right? Then say, okay, I want to get there, but where could I work first that would be kind of like working at my dream job? And then, go into there. And that's where we go back to the entry level job. Lidka says you can look at some common questions and thinking about the answers so they will not surprise you asking those questions. Yeah. So it's again, it really comes down to what what you're able to organize, right? So we're gonna look at this right now. The second part is strategy. So we can prepare the best we can and still have problems with the interviews. Here's two big ways we can reduce problems. So first, be humble. Never upsell yourself if you don't have to. Use the right kind of language. Example, I'm not sure, but I'm afraid I don't have much experience. However, right? Don't make it seem like you know more than you really know. Okay, this is important. Just Tell them what you know. Tell them what you want to do better at. Tell them, that if you don't, and it's okay if you don't know the word. Let's say they like tell you a bunch of vocabulary. You have no idea what they're talking about. Well, okay, just when you go back home, look up that vocabulary, learn that vocabulary, be ready for the next interview if you didn't get the job. Another thing to keep in mind with is, again, be a good listener, repeat information, and ask them to repeat questions for you. Could you please rephrase the question? Nothing is a bigger nightmare than being perfectly qualified for an interview and having an interviewer that you don't understand. I've had quite a few of people where they say things and you have no idea what they're talking about, and it makes you wonder. Do you want to work with someone like that? I mean, are you going to even understand them when they tell you to do something? Think about, are these the people I want to work with? Okay, keep in mind that. Okay, I'll tell you a funny story. When I was in the working in the wine industry, I applied for one job, and the first interview was indeed a phone interview. I have Pavel saying that, right, a phone interview. And uh, and uh, the phone interview, right, it was the first thing, and then the second interview was the second interview was, I think, what happened. I went to the to I oh, no, I think I remember now. This is a true story. I'm not joking. This is a true story. So the first interview was an interview where it was a phone interview with just the HR person. The second interview was another phone interview with the HR director. So I had the assistant and the director. The third interview, I was late 15, 20 minutes. That was pretty much a disaster. And I arrived, and it were two people that also worked in HR, and they did the interview, and the interview went really well, and they really liked me. And then they called me back for another interview, and I did an interview with the manager, and I didn't get the job. And what happened was, a month later, the HR director called me directly and asked that if I wanted to come in for an interview because there was a new job position. So I thought to myself, man, they're going to give me like 10 or 12 interviews before I get a job. So I said, forget about it. It's too much energy. It's too much time. So this is something to really keep in mind: are these the people you really want to be working with? A very, very important thing to think about. Just going to some of the comments here, none so far, but let's look at some weird true interview questions and which of these are appropriate, inappropriate, or strange. Tell us your strengths and your weaknesses. What's your proudest achievement? Can you give us your best friend's phone number? Are you prepared to work long hours? If you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be? Now, these are real interview questions. You can also share the weirdest interview question you ever had. Again, don't be shy. Again, we're here to support each other. I will tell you that one of the strangest questions I had recently was someone asking, how many minutes are there in a day? Now, okay, I get it. Sometimes some people, they know this answer, but it had nothing to do with the job position I was learning. So I said, honestly, I've never bothered to calculate that number. Then he said, well, how do you calculate that number? And I said, okay, well, you get 24 hours, and you multiply it by, I think he even asked, like, how many seconds are in a day. Yeah, that's what he said, how many seconds are in a day. So I told him the possible, 24 times 60 times 60. But the thing is, it's like, it's a very strange question because it has nothing to do with what I was trying to accomplish. Yeah, but the thing that I didn't like about this question was that they weren't saying, how do you find the number of minutes in a day? They said, how many are there in a day? And that, to me, is crazy, because unless we memorize that number for fun, most of us don't know that number. I mean, at least I don't know that number. Maybe I need to be a better interviewer taking. Okay, 144 minutes in one day. I think there's more than that. But Anyways, so the point is that again, it not a very good question, but which of these are also some very strange questions here? Which are appropriate or inappropriate? Can you tell me on this list which ones you find appropriate, inappropriate, or strange? So I don't have any answers, but I'll tell you some of these are real life questions that you do see when you're preparing for an interview. So again, this is, let's see. Okay, so Christina figured out the answer. This is great, but keep in mind, you have to ask yourself, why are they asking this question, right? What's the purpose of this question? We have to think about that. So I think some of these questions are rather strange, but some of them, they could say a lot about your personality. So for example, the question about the minutes I just mentioned. Yeah, that could maybe tell you how you reach a conclusion, or you reach maybe sort of the answer to a equation or a formula, right? This is important. If you have a question like the final one, if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be? Again, keep in mind that this might be a good question to answer correctly, because it could tell you a lot about your personality. So maybe just think about, some maybe unconventional things that you've talked about, and sort of make it your sort of your answer. Make it a unique answer. So Christina says a lion. Okay, so why would you be a lion? Again, you have to also explain, right? We can't just, it's the same kind of way that you answer any of these questions. Irene says, I think that, are you prepared to work long hours is a catch. It can backfire. What you should answer maybe should be, I'm prepared to work all of the hours you require me to work, right? So you're not answering the question yes or no. Just, you have to also ask yourself, is this a job where people work overtime, where they work more than necessary? Very important to ask yourself that. You don't want to take a job that doesn't correspond with your lifestyle. I have another one. Marina says the best friend's phone number is a strange one. Yeah, I agree. It's a little bit bizarre. Definitely not very definitely not very appropriate. I think they're trying to ask for a reference. You could say, you could say to that, unfortunately, my best friend is not one of my references, but I could happily give you one of my work references if you need it. Right? Keep it in mind, you're not trying to make them feel bad. You're trying to say, maybe they're not very professional. Maybe they're not good at giving interviews. Maybe they want to hire you, so they don't know what they're doing though. So, you can also help them without saying that's a terrible question, or your interview skills are terrible. You need to find a way to spin it to your advantage. Yeah, Pavel asked me what's about the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now that one, and also, what are your biggest strengths? What are your biggest weaknesses? These are two that we see quite a lot. And I will tell you something about these questions. These questions are not very interesting. I think the best way to answer these questions is to have a few since they are generic questions, you can have your own memorized answer. Don't get too creative with these questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Okay, it could be anything. You could say, I could see myself doing this, but you could also say, I see myself, managing, a company. You could say all kinds of things. You don't have to say anything that's true. You just have to show that you have ambitions, that you are ambitious. You're seeing into your future, right? This is an important thing. Irene says, is it possible to ask the interviewer, why did you ask me such a question? Well, you could say, maybe, for example, you could say, could you please rephrase the question? All right, don't say, I don't understand your question. Say it more, I don't know what you're trying to ask me. But don't say that. Say, could you please rephrase the question? Right? Keep that in mind. You do that, you're safe. Rephrase. Rephrase means they'll find another way to ask the question. So maybe the way they asked it was kind of strange. So they asked it in a different way, and then, okay, no problem. You're ready to answer it. But I've had some pretty weird questions. And sometimes those questions were due to lack of knowledge, industry related knowledge. So, just as I said before, know your audience and be careful. Don't show that that don't make them think that you know something you don't know, or that you don't know something that you should know, right? This is very important. So, to conclude this, right, again, which of these interview strategies do you agree with? Prepare answers to questions or improve most of your answers? Don't prepare any questions or prepare questions no matter what? Tell lies to get you the job or never tell lies? Give long answers to every question or short, concise answers when possible? So again, what are some of the things that you should keep in mind here about interviewing? Can you tell me again? Just a quick sort of shout out. Again, we have less than 5 minutes left, so this is your chance to participate. If you haven't participated yet, okay, so I have one person saying tell lies. So you agree that telling lies is good? You should tell me why. Don't just say, okay, I agree. Again, say, imagine that this is kind of like an interview we're doing together, right? You want to answer, but you also have to tell me why, right? So, what are some reasons behind your answers? So, if anyone's on the landing page, you could answer and let me know. Again, if there's and if you agree with one interviewing method over the other interviewing method. So, can you tell me something here? All right. No one on YouTube. Anyone on YouTube? Okay. So Pavel says, what about your salary expectation? I'm always nervous here. Well, don't worry about that. Usually you don't talk about that in the beginning. But if they do talk about, a salary, go with try to know what the salaries are, annual salaries are for certain jobs in the industry, and maybe say a little bit higher, because if you do that, that also shows you're knowledgeable about the expectations in the industry, right? Christina says, because you need to say that you are the best. Okay, you could say that you are the best, but be careful when you tell lies, because there's a difference between lying and making things sound better than they are, right? Now, you could say, for example, things that you did, you can make it sound more interesting than it was. Like you can say, I helped collaborate and organize, with teams, but you just worked on the same team. But if you say that, then it sounds like you had a very important role on the team. But don't say, I managed a team, when that's not true, right? So be careful, right? Again, you can be someone important on your team, but you have to also realize that, right? Irene says, it's difficult not to see the interview as a minefield. Our job might be directing these questions towards a path where you end up favored without undermining their authority as the interviewer. Yeah. So again, you have to realize the interviewer is really the authority here, but also try to impress the authority. You're a candidate, right? So you have to wow them, right? So think about these things. So just to conclude, right, again, do be welcoming, introduce yourself, confirm objectives, remind employers why they want to work there, move through answers, prepare follow-up questions, and don't worry about making mistakes. Don't apologize for your English. Don't rush through the topics. Be clear and concise, right? So again, the most important thing is selling yourself. And if you find ways in your language to make yourself interesting, you will hold other people's attention. Part of improving your business language or your English in general involves taking risks. So again, if it's something you've never tried doing, please do try doing it. Again, this is a great way to continue to reach your goals. So just to conclude one more time, my name is Adriel. I'm a professional instructor on italki.com. On the website, you can find many other professional instructors such as myself, but there is my link below if you would like to book a class with me. There are also informal tutors and language exchange partners and language learning resources you can find on the website. Right now, we're living in a very difficult time, so the best we can do is to be there for one another and to be able to improve ourselves as well as help others whenever possible. Language learning is one amazing way we can do this. And again, I want to thank you so much for your time and participation today. Up next on italki.com/istayAtHome, we have Naz. We have Atsuko with Travel in Japan. And after that, again, we're going to have the hot seat with phrasal verbs with Naz. Wherever you are in the world today, thank you so much for your participation, and I wish you all the best during the COVID-19 crisis. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
De esta forma ganarán recompensas ayudando a otros usuarios. Así es como conectamos personas de forma colaborativa y gratuita en nuestra aplicación. Únete a nuestra comunidad, haz nuevos amigos y mejora en todos los idiomas que quieras. Descarga Lingvi y practiquemos juntos.
Este es Peter. Está aprendiendo chino. Ha intentado estudiar por su cuenta con libros, tarjetas de vocabulario y aplicaciones móviles, pero sigue teniendo problemas para hablar. Esta es María. Le encanta aprender inglés, pero no tiene oportunidades para ponerlo en práctica. Con italki, Peter y María pueden recibir clases personales online para hablar con fluidez en otro idioma. Tú también puedes aprender un idioma en italki. Empieza hoy en 3 simples pasos. Primero, elige un idioma: inglés, alemán, chino, francés, japonés. Italki tiene profesores para cualquier idioma. Segundo, escoge un profesor. Con Italki puedes escoger entre miles de profesores con experiencia de todo el mundo. Tercero, elige el horario de tu lección. Las clases de idiomas online son el mejor método para aprender con profesores nativos. Con Italki tendrás un profesor de idiomas personal y conversaciones reales con hablantes nativos. Cada día miles de personas aprenden con profesores internacionales a través de italki. Encuentra un profesor hoy y domina el idioma de tu lección.
Hi everyone, it's Vicente and I teach Spanish on italki.com. And today we will be talking about 3 grammar rules to follow when you start learning Spanish. The first one is that, as you have already heard, Spanish verbs are always conjugated. That means that they have to match with the subject of the sentence. For example, there are different pronouns in Spanish. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, nosotras, vosotros, vosotras, and ellos, ellas, y ustedes. All these pronouns have their own conjugations, and it's very common for beginners to mix them up. So remember this. When you start to conjugate the verbs, they have to match. The second rule is very important as well. The Spanish nouns and adjectives has to be in the same level. Let me explain you this. If you have a noun that is feminine and plural, for example, las mujeres, the adjective that you have to use right after the noun has to be feminine and plural as well. For example, las mujeres españolas. It is the same with the articles las, female and plural. We use this article because, as I say, it's female and plural. The third rule I already mentioned before, and be careful, English speakers, because the adjectives in Spanish go after the noun, not before like in English. This is very common for students that learn Spanish and already speak or know English. When I said las mujeres españolas, españolas is the adjective, and I put it after las mujeres. In English, it would be Spanish woman, but not in Spanish. Okay, there are some occasions where the adjectives go before the nouns. That is true, but normally this use comes out at intermediate level or advanced level, so do not worry when you are a beginner. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the italki YouTube channel over here. Take a lesson with me on italki.com by clicking on my teacher profile link in the description. Hasta luego! Hi everyone, it's Vicente and I teach Spanish on italki.com, and today I will be talking about 7 Spanish words that are similar to their English counterpart. These words are also known as cognates. What a cognate is? A cognate is a word that has the same linguistic derivation that another word, and it looks similar, and when you pronounce it, it sounds almost the same. And here I will give you 7 cognates so you can use them in Spanish as well. The first one is alcohol in Spanish. Guess you know what it means because it sounds pretty similar than in English, doesn't it? Number 2 is conclusión. This one has a different pronunciation in Spanish, but you will understand definitely when you start learning Spanish. Number 3, hobby. This one is completely similar. We basically took this word from English. Number 4, individual. Of course, it's the same word, just different pronunciation. The next one, number 5, is piercing. Yes, we use this word with the same pronunciation and meaning. Next one, number 6, is informal. I like to use this one in my lessons to explain ways to greet and say goodbye because it's similar in English and is a word that the students understand very quickly. And the last are some words related to sports. If you're learning Spanish and you like sports, you're lucky because most of the words are cognates like football, tennis, baseball, volleyball, hockey, water polo, golf, surf, and so on. As you can see, almost all sports are cognates. So, talking about your hobbies should not be difficult. As you can see, there are many, and I would like to remember you that there are hundreds of cognates, and if you check them, you can be ready to your first Spanish lesson. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the italki YouTube channel for more tips on learning Spanish. Take a lesson with me on italki.com by clicking on my teacher profile link in the description. Hasta luego!
Hi everyone, it's Caroline here and I teach English on italki. Today I am going to be talking about business idioms or idioms you might hear in your office or in your workplace. A student asked me a really good question the other day. He asked me whether, because I'm a native English speaker, do I know every single idiom? And the answer is no. Idioms are phrases or expressions that come from a particular place or a particular age group. So idioms are different in the UK to idioms in the United States. I have chosen 5 business idioms to talk to you about today, and you may hear them in an office in the UK or in the States. So hopefully they will be super useful for you. Idiom number 1 is the big picture. Imagine you go into a meeting and your boss says to you, you've lost sight of the big picture. What does that mean? That means that you are thinking too much about the small details of the project, and you are so interested in those little details that you don't remember what it is you're trying to achieve. So always keep sight of the big picture. The second idiom is to go the extra mile. Now imagine you're in an interview and the interviewer says to you that they are looking for someone who always goes the extra mile. What does that mean? Does it mean they want you to run around the office every day? No, it means they want you to do more than just what is in the job description. They want you to go that little bit further and to take on extra responsibilities. That is going the extra mile. The third idiom is a win-win situation. A win-win situation means everybody gains something. A really good example of this is these videos that I'm making for italki. Italki gains some content for their website, some lessons for their learners, and I have a platform where students can see me and book lessons with me. It's a win-win. Italki wins and Caroline wins. The fourth idiom is word of mouth. So an example of this is, think about how you found out about italki. Did you find italki by searching on Google? Or did you find italki because one of your friends recommended it to you? Recommendations from friends are word of mouth. It can be positive or it can be negative. If your company gets bad word of mouth, it is going to be a very difficult time for your company because people...
皆さん、こんにちは。あつこです。Hello, I'm Atsuko. I'm an online Japanese teacher of italki. Para hispanohablantes, yo soy Atsuko, no soy Asco, sino Atsuko. Welcome to my lesson. I live in Bangkok, Thailand. It's 7 p.m. here. Where do you live? Where are you watching this live streaming? Please write on the chat. Where do you live? Nya san, konnichiwa again. Diane san, konnichiwa. Okay, I want to ask you, have you ever been to Japan? Have you ever traveled to Japan before? 皆さん、こんにちは。イレーネさん、エヴェリナさん、こんにちは。イレーネさん、スペイン。はい。じゃあ、I also want to ask you, did you have any inconvenience when you were in Japan? While you were traveling in Japan, did you have any inconvenience? Please tell me about your experience in Japan. アルバロさん、東京に行きました。そうですか。Did you enjoy your travel? Did you have any inconvenience in Japan? Not yet. いいですね。すごい、すごい。いいですね。はい。じゃあ、today I introduce some useful vocabulary and expressions for you to travel to Japan next time. Okay? Maybe after the pandemic, many people go to Japan. はい。I'm also going to show you some souvenirs I recommend. If you have any questions, please feel free to write on the chat anytime. イレネさん、I want to go to Japan, actually work there in the future. Then イレネさん、good luck in your Japanese study ね。はい。じゃあ、let's check from the useful vocabulary. Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. Okay. Hi. Please repeat after me. The first word is travel. 旅行。旅行。suitcase. スーツケース。スーツケース。backpack. バックパック。バックパック。passport. パスポート。パスポート。Then let's check some basic sentences using this vocabulary. Okay, first one is, I'm traveling in Japan. Please repeat after me. 日本を 旅行しています。日本を旅行しています。ダナさん、こんにちは。Welcome to my class. Okay, next one. This is my suitcase. これは私のスーツケースです。これは私のスーツケースです。And if you want to say, this is my backpack, then just replace suitcase with backpack. So, これは私のバックパックです。This is my passport. これは私のパスポートです。Okay, next. The airport is 空港。空港。airplane。飛行機。飛行機。souvenir。お土産。お土産。duty free shop。免税店。免税店。Okay, then let's check the sentences. First one is, I buy souvenirs at the airport. Repeat after me. 空港でお土産を買います。空港でお土産を買います。Then, how about I buy souvenirs at the duty-free shop? Just replace 空港 with 免税店。So, 免税店でお土産を買います。Then the next sentence is a little longer. I buy souvenirs for my friends at the duty-free shop. Okay, repeat after me. 免税店で友達にお土産を買います。友達 means friend. Okay, again. 免税店で友達にお土産を買います。Okay, next vocabulary is about transportation. Okay, please repeat after me. Train. 電車。電車。Subway。地下鉄。地下鉄。バス。バス。バス。新幹線。新幹線。Or have you ever taken 新幹線? Does anyone have experience to take 新幹線 in Japan? I want to hear your impression about 新幹線. I think it's very comfortable, but it's very expensive. Don't you think so? And when I go back to my hometown, and the 新幹線 to go to my hometown, it doesn't have a space to put suitcase. So I had to put my suitcase in front of me. But instead, there's a space to put ski. ダビッドさん、こんにちは。とても高いです。ダイヤさん、そう、新幹線はとても高いですね。It's really expensive. ダナさん、I have never taken 新幹線 but heard a lot about it. あ、そうですか。Well, 新幹線 seems to be very famous. ダニエルさん、I've never been to Japan but I've seen a documentary on the high-speed train 新幹線。ああ、そうですか。へえ、新幹線 is very famous. Okay. はい。じゃあ、next, taxi. The pronunciation is a little bit different. タクシー。タクシー。Okay. はい。ダイアンさん。 でもとてもすごいです。新幹線はすごいです。Awesome. ありがとうございます。はい、じゃあ let's check the sentences. First one is, I get on a train at Tokyo Station. Station is 駅 in Japanese. And Tokyo Station is 東京駅です。Okay? 東京駅で電車に乗ります。東京駅で電車に乗ります。Then how about I get on subway at Tokyo Station? I get on subway at Tokyo Station. Just replace 電車 with 地下鉄ですね。東京駅で地下鉄に乗ります。I get on 新幹線 at Tokyo Station. 東京駅で新幹線に乗りますです。Then next, I go to Kyoto by 新幹線。新幹線で京都に行きます。新幹線で京都に行きます。Do you know Kyoto? Maybe it's very famous. 新幹線が難しいです。旅のプロナンセーションですか？新幹線。Or your kanji is perfect. Then how about I go to Osaka by bus? I go to Osaka by bus. バスで大阪に行きますですね。バスで大阪に行きます。The next phrase is for in the taxi. When you want to go to Shibuya Station, you can say this to the driver. 渋谷駅までお願いします。渋谷駅までお願いします。Okay. Then what if you want to go to the airport? What do you say to the driver? Airport is 空港。空港。You want to go to the airport by taxi. Then you can say 空港までお願いします。空港までお願いします。Okay, then maybe you will have chance to speak with Japanese people in Japan, and you want to introduce yourself in Japanese, right? Because you're studying Japanese, so you want to try to use Japanese. Okay, so I introduce some useful expressions to introduce yourself in Japanese. First example is self-introduction of ニックさん。ニックさんの self-introduction です。Okay? So let's check each sentence. The first one is, I'm Nick. Repeat after me. 私はニックです。Okay? So when you introduce yourself, just replace Nick with your own name. Okay? The next sentence is, I'm American. Okay, repeat after me. アメリカ人です。アメリカ人です。Okay, so when you introduce yourself, just replace America with your country. Okay, so in my case, 私はあつこです。日本人です。人 is suffix which means nationality of a person. Okay? So, can anyone introduce yourself in Japanese using the first two sentences? In my case, 私はあつこです。日本人です。Okay, please write your introduction on the chat. 私はダビッドです。スペイン人です。OK, es perfecto, muy bien. ダナさん。ボグダナです。ダナさん。ウクライナ人です。ウクライナ人。ウクライナ人。そっか。with 人。OK。ダナさん、perfect。ヒレネさん、私はヒレネです。スペイン人です。OK。私はディアンです。フランス人です。はい。OK。c'est parfait。グラティアさん。ディアンさん、カタカナ。ディアン、カタカナです。ディアン。D はスモール e ですね。ディアンさん。ディアン。e スモール。ディアン。カタカナ。ディアンです。グラティアさん。私はグラティアです。OK。ニャニャさん。私はアンジェリカです。Or, I didn't know your real name. アンジェリカです。Sounds nice. ドイツ人です。はい。グラツィアさん、イタリーは日本語でイタリア人です。はい。ダニエルさん、私はダニエルです。コロンビア人です。コロンビア、RO です。コロンビア。eres colombiano. Encantada. はい。じゃあ、let's check the next phrase. アルバロさん。私はアルバロです。メキシコ人です。OK, perfecto, muy bien. はい。じゃあ、next phrase. Now, I'm traveling in Japan. はい。今、日本を旅行しています。今、日本を旅行しています。Okay, next. I can understand Japanese a little. 日本語が少しわかります。日本語が少しわかります。少し means a little. ね。はい。じゃあ、next self-introduction is じゃらーん。エベリナさんです。ラパルさん。Hola, bienvenida a mi clase. Encantada. はい。じゃあ、let's check the エベリナさん self-introduction. Okay, repeat after me. 私はエベリナです。Next, I came from Poland. In Japanese, ポーランドから来ました。ポーランドから来ました。から means from. 来ました means came. Okay? はい。じゃあ next. So when you introduce yourself, just replace Poland with your country's name. In my case, 日本から来ました。Okay? But if I were in Japan, I couldn't say 日本から来ました。Now I'm in Thailand, so I can say I came from Japan. 日本から来ました。はい。じゃあ、next phrase is I like Japan a lot. Okay? Repeat after me. 私は日本が大好きです。私は日本が大好きです。Okay, next. I'd love to come to Japan again. ぜひまた日本に来たいです。ぜひまた日本に来たいです。Okay, let's break down this sentence. また means again. 来たいです want to come. また日本に来たいです means I want to come to Japan again. And when we add ぜひ this means I'd love to come to Japan again. So it's emphasis. Okay, next. I introduce some location nouns. Okay. So look at the upper left picture. The cat is on the chair. On, a verb. In Japanese, 上. Next, under the chair, under, below. 下. In front of. 前. Behind. 後ろ. Inside. 中. Outside. 外. Okay, look at the lower left picture. Left side. 左. Right. 右. Okay, then look at the picture on the right side. The bookstore is between a bakery and coffee shop. Between. 間. And the coffee shop is next to the bookstore. Next to. 隣. Then look at the post office. It's near the bookstore, near the coffee shop. Near, close to. 近く. Those are location nouns. Then look at the picture. The cat is on the chair. Again. On the chair. Chair is 椅子 in Japanese. On the chair is, in Japanese, 椅子の上. No is connector with 椅子 and 上. Noun. No plus counter word, like location noun. 椅子の上です。Then how about under the chair? 椅子の下ですね。椅子の下。In front of the chair. 椅子の前。Behind the chair. 椅子の後ろ。Then, how to say in the box? Okay, please write on the chat, in the box. Noun. No. Location noun. How do you say in the box? The answer is 箱の中. OK, 旦那さん OK です。箱の中 in the box、ね。はい。じゃあ how about outside of the window? ダビッドさん、漢字も OK です。箱の中、perfecto, muy bien. Outside of the window is 窓の外。ダビッドさん、窓の外。because 外 is location noun. Okay? 窓の外ですよ。はい。じゃあ、next. My left side. On my left. 私の左。My right side. 私の右。Okay. Next. じゃあ、look at the coffee shop. Coffee shop is 喫茶店 in Japanese. 喫茶店 is next to the bookstore. Bookstore is 本屋 in Japanese. Okay, next to the bookstore. 本屋の隣。And post office is near the bookstore. 本屋の近く。Then next, look at the bookstore. 本屋 again. It's between bakery and coffee shop. Between bakery パン屋 and coffee shop 喫茶店。パン屋と喫茶店の間です。Okay, between A and B。A と B の間。Okay, パン屋と喫茶店の間です。Okay, then let's practice conversation using location noun. Okay. Okay. じゃあ A さん says, Excuse me. すみません。Is there any convenience stores near here? この近くにコンビニがありますか？はい。B さん says, Yes, there is. はい、ありますよ。Then A さん asks, Where is it? どこにありますか？ Then B さん says, It's in front of the station. In front of は前です。駅の前にあります。Then A さん says, そうですか。This means I got it. I see. Thank you very much. どうもありがとうございます。Okay, then let's role play. I'm A. You're B. Okay? すみません。この近くにコンビニがありますか？どこにありますか？そうですか。どうもありがとうございます。Okay, then next, you're A. Ask me. はい、ありますよ。駅の前にあります。Okay. Then, if you want to go to the department store and you want to ask, is there any department stores around here? How do you say? Just replace コンビニ with デパート。デパート、department store。デパート in Japanese. So question is, この近くにデパートがありますか？Then question is, are there any restaurants near here? この近くにレストランがありますか？ Are there any bars near here? この近くにバーがありますか？ Okay, next. Nice sushi restaurant. おいしい寿司屋。おいしい is delicious, tasty. And 屋 is suffix, which means shop, store. 寿司屋、寿司 restaurant です。この近くにおいしい寿司屋がありますか？ Next, are there any souvenir shops around here, near here? Souvenir shop is お土産。お土産屋 is souvenir shop. And さん is suffix, which is normally used for person, like 山田さん、鈴木さんですね。But we can use this さん with shop's name. When we use さん with shop's name, it sounds softer. Okay? お土産屋。お土産屋さん。 ね。It's softer. Okay? The question is, この近くにお土産屋さんがありますか？ Okay. Then let's practice how to describe locations. A さん wants to go to the bank, but he doesn't know where the bank is. So he asks, where is the bank? Bank is 銀行 in Japanese. Question is, 銀行はどこにありますか？銀行はどこにありますか？ Okay, then look at the picture below. Where is bank? It's next to the department store. So B さん answers, デパートの隣にあります。デパートの隣にあります。Okay, let's practice. The number one, コンビニ convenience store, コンビニ Where is the convenience store? Question is, コンビニはどこにありますか？ピエトロさん、こんにちは。イタリア人。そうですか。チャオ、ピアチェーレ。はい、コンビニはどこにありますか？ The answer is not only one. We can say it's between bank and library, between bank and library. Or it's in front of the park. Both are okay. Then, can anyone write between bank and library? コンビニはどこにありますか？大きくなりますか？ Like this. Okay. コンビニはどこにありますか？図書館と銀行の間にあります。OK です。パーフェクトです。いいです。じゃあ、how about it's in front of the park? コンビニはどこにありますか？ In front of the park. 暑いです。はい、It's in front of the park. コンビニはどこにありますか？ダビッドさん、でなだ。アルバロさん、銀行と図書館の間にあります。OK です。はい。公園の前にあります。OK です。いいです。はい。Okay, the next question. ATM はどこにありますか？ディアンさん、公園の前にあります。with verb、ね。公園の前にあります。with verb。Okay. はい。ATM はどこにありますか？ ATM。In Japanese, same with English. ATM. It's in the bank. In the bank. Inside of the bank. In the bank. Hard to say in Japanese.ATM はどこにありますか？じゃあ、I'll show the location now again ね。In the bank. In the bank. Which one is in? 銀行の中にあります。はい、にゃにゃさんいいです。銀行の中にあります。タナさん、公園の中、公園の中はね、公園の中 ATM じゃありません。銀行の中にあります。ディアンさん、ATM は銀行の中にあります。ATM は。But when we answer, normally we omit the subject. はい。ダビッドさん、漢字でこうで銀行 S の SS を。銀行のこうは S と銀行。 銀行のこはこれです。Okay? はい。ダビッドさん、conoces muchos kanji ね。銀行の中にあります。銀行の中にあります。銀行の中にあります。はい、OK です。じゃあ、next question。トイレはどこにありますか？トイレはどこにありますか？ It's in the park. トイレはどこにありますか？アルバロさん、question. People with surname の中 do they get beard? の中、そうそう、surname の中。ファミリーネームね。One of my friends has family name の中ですよ。はい。公園の中にあります。OK。公園の中にあります。トイレは公園の中にいます。OK。皆さん、perfect です。Next。バス乗り場はどこにありますか？バス乗り場。バス乗り場 is bus stop。バスストップ。Where's bus stop? バス乗り場はどこにありますか？バス乗り場。Can you find バス乗り場? It's very small. バス乗り場はわかりましたか？ It's in front of the park. バス乗り場は公園の前にあります。It's very small, so it's a bit difficult. じゃあ last one. ポストはどこにありますか？ポスト。ポストはどこにありますか？ナナさん。バス乗り場は公園の前にあります。ニャニャさんすみません。バス乗り場、very small ね。はい。ポストはどこにありますか？ポスト。You can see the mark of postal service in Japan. In Japan, posts are red. ポストはどこにありますか？ピアンさん、バス乗り場は公園の前にあります。OK です。はい。ポストは It's in front of convenience store です。コンビニの前にあります。It's also small. ポストはコンビニの前にあります。OK。はい。アルバロさん、コンビニの中。コンビニのね、前ですね。前。ポストはコンビニの前にあります。はい。OK です。皆さん OK です。いいです。Then, next topic is souvenir. お土産です。日本のお土産。So, when you went to Japan, what kind of souvenir did you buy?What did you buy in Japan? Tell me on the chat. 何を買いましたか？日本で皆さんは何を買いましたか？ I'm very curious. ポストはコンビニの前にあります。ディアンさん、we use K for かきくけこ。コンビニ、K。はい。What did you buy as a souvenir from Japan?Write on the chat, please. 着物を買いました。着物、浴衣いいですね。着物、c'est très cher. 浴衣、綺麗ですね。はい。ニャンニャさん、I wasn't in Japan yet, but I know a lot of friends. I will need to bring anime and manga. You know, ニャンニャさんは 漫画が好きですね。刀を買いました。Isn't it difficult to bring katana to abroad? アルバロさん、うんこ漢字ブックスを買いました。そうですか。Hola, ¿de dónde eres? No sé hablar inglés. Me tocó traducirlo. Me llamo Lara de Colombia. そうですか。Where are you from? Soy de Japón. Soy japonesa. Laura from Colombia. ラウラさんですか。ラウラさん。はい。ラウラさんはコロンビア人ですね。はい。ディアンさん、in big suitcase。big suitcase。ダイアンさんは you put katana in a big suitcase and brought back to France。そうですか。はい。じゃあ、I introduce you some souvenirs I recommend you. When I go abroad, I hate to bring heavy things, so I always buy light things and not so expensive. Okay? Look at the picture. They're so beautiful, right? So first one is sense. Sense. What's sense? It's Japanese fan. I have one here. Look. It's so beautiful. There are a lot of beautiful designs like this. It's so cute and very light. And it's very handy like this. センスです。はい。じゃあ next one is 箸。You should know this. Chopsticks. 箸。It's very beautiful and not so expensive and light too. 箸。But I wonder, do you have 箸 chopsticks at home? I think many of you like Japanese food, so maybe you eat Japanese food at home. Actually, here in Thailand, かわいいセンスありがとうございます。But actually, this is not mine. My friend lent it to me. はい。Actually, here in Thailand, I don't have 箸。I always eat with spoon とフォークですね。はい。皆さんは箸を持っていますか？箸。それから風呂敷。皆さん、はい、箸があります。I love eating with them. そうですか。風呂敷は beautiful Japanese cloth. It's very big. Much bigger than handkerchief ね。はい。箸、型、全部を食べる。箸で全部を食べます。全部箸で食べます。旦那さん。ポストカードは日本語で何と言いますか？ポストカードは日本語ではがきです。はがき。はがき。はい。エベリナさん、I love 箸 and I love eating with them. そうですか。And I love this beautiful sense. これね、綺麗ですよね。綺麗。はい。風呂敷。So, recently, 風呂敷 is very popular in Thailand because it's very eco-friendly. Now, in Thailand, we can't get plastic bags at supermarkets. So, 風呂敷 is very good to cover boxes or bottles. Okay? はい。ディアンさん、お箸を持っています。そうですか。嬉しいですね。はい。それから、折り紙。You should know this. 折り紙。But if you buy origami, you have to learn how to make with origami. ね。はい。それから next one is very interesting. 寿司マグネット。マグネット is magnet. Magnet is attached to plastic sushi. So you can put sushi magnet on your refrigerator. It's so interesting. And it looks like real sushi. So it's very nice for souvenir. はい。それからお守り。お守り。Do you know where we can get omamori? Where can we buy omamori? Not department stores, not at supermarket, not at 7-Eleven. Where can we get omamori? Do you know? Omamori is lucky charm. Lucky charm. And each omamori has meaning. For example, good luck in love relationship, or road safety, or success in study, or exam. We can buy omamori at shrines, 神社 or temples. お寺や神社。あ、イレネさんわかります。ディアンさんわかります。あ、神社。あ、皆さんわかりますね。そうそうそう。in temples or 神社。うん。はい。なので、寺の中、お寺で買います。お寺で買います。はい。ディアンさん、お寺、シングル R ね。シングル R。お寺で買います。OK です。So, omamori is very small and very beautiful. So, it's good for souvenir. And of course, it has good meaning. はい。Maybe next one you don't know. 油取り紙。油 is oil, fat. I have example. This is 油取り紙. It's paper like this. If you feel oily on your face, like this. I'm not at all oily. I'm very dry. Yeah, it's very comfortable. My skin's very dry. So I shouldn't do this. はい、油取り紙です。You can remove oil from your face. はい、それからお菓子、snacks. There are so many tasty お菓子 in Japan. You should try. Okay? And I think green tea taste is very popular in all over the world. You can get many nice green tea flavor snacks in Japan. Okay? はい。じゃあ、next. Useful expressions for shopping. Okay? はい。The first one is, excuse me. Do you have any Japanese fans? すみません。センスはありますか？ Okay. にゃにゃさん。Now I want Japanese snacks. そうです。美味しいですよ。お菓子を食べたい。日本のお菓子は美味しいですね。はい。The next phrase is, show me that, please. Show me that. That is あれ。あれを見せてください。And you see something and you want to buy this. I'll take this, please. これをください。And when you buy souvenir for your friends, you want to remove the price tag before wrapping. はい。値段を取ってください。Okay, next one is, please wrap them separately. You give souvenir for different friends. Okay? 別々に包んでください。別々に means separately. 包んでください。is from the verb 包む to wrap. 包む。包んでください。ね。Okay. はい。じゃあ、next one is useful expressions at a restaurant. Okay. Order please. 注文お願いします。And I use this phrase very often. What do you recommend? おすすめは何ですか？おすすめ is recommendation です。And when you ask おすすめ and you want to try this, then I'd like it, please. じゃあ、それをください。Next, check please. お会計お願いします。はい。It was tasty. 美味しかったです。Thank you for the meal. ごちそうさまでした。Okay. Next. Useful expressions at sushi restaurant. I didn't put translation for these sentences, so let's think about meaning. First one is カウンターでお願いします。What does it mean? Counter is a counter seat, not table. This means in front of the chef. Why I recommend you to eat at counter, not a table? Do you know why? I love to eat at counter. Why do I recommend you to eat at counter? Because if you eat at counter at sushi restaurant, you can communicate with chef and you can see how he makes sushi. So it's very interesting. Okay, so please use this phrase next time you go to sushi restaurant in Japan. Next one is a bit difficult. Okay, repeat after me. サビ抜きでお願いします。サビ抜きでお願いします。What's サビ抜き? Do you know wasabi? And do you like wasabi? I love wasabi. But maybe some people can't eat wasabi. It has very strong taste. So if you don't want a chef to put wasabi on your sushi, サビ抜き means without wasabi. Okay? サビ抜き without wasabi でお願いします。Okay? わさびが好きじゃない、嫌いです。そうですか。I don't want to eat sushi without wasabi, so I'll never use this phrase. じゃあ、旦那さんとダビッドさんは use this phrase at sushi restaurant in Japan ね。サビ抜きでお願いします。Okay, next one is シャリ少なめでお願いします。シャリ少なめでお願いします。What does it mean? I use this phrase. My stomach is not so big, but I want to try various kinds of sushi. シャリ means rice under 刺身ね。はい。皆さん、わさびが好きです。よかった。はい。ダナさん、yes, it's useful. そうそう、サビ抜きね。はい。ダナさん、you should screenshot ね。this PowerPoint ね。はい。シャリは寿司のご飯です。ご飯。So, when we order シャリ少なめ, then chef don't use so much rice when they make sushi. Okay? Small sushi です。The same size of fish, but less rice. So I can eat a lot. シャリ少なめです。Very useful. Okay? はい、the last one is very easy. お茶をください。Do you like Japanese green tea? In Japan, we can drink ocha as much as you like. Okay? So they refill your cup with tasty ocha. Hi, don't you have any questions? Okay, then next. Okay, let's practice how to order food in Japanese. Okay, counter words for ordering food. Maybe you know the number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and when we order food, we use special counter word for order. When we want only one of something, we say 一つ。一つ。And we want two, 二つ。Three is 三つ。Four is 四つです。一つ、二つ、三つ、四つ。So if I want to order 2 cups of coffee, you can say example sentence below. コーヒーを2つください。コーヒーを2つください。Okay? Then let's practice how to order. Then look at the vocabulary on the right side. Repeat after me. ラーメン。サンドイッチ。コーヒー。コーラ。ハンバーガー。ポテト。ビール。Then, what do you say if you want to order 3 ramen? 3 ramen. How to order in Japanese? 3 ramen. Get right on the chat, please. 3 ramen, please. 3 ramen, please. ラーメンを3つください。そうです。ラーメンを3つください。いいです。Then, how about, ダビッドさん、ラーメン、ロングバウエルです。ラーメン、ラーメン、and, カタカナ、カタカナ、ラーメンを3つください。ラーメンを3つください。ディアンさん、ください。ください。It's politer. はい。じゃあ、how about 4 beer, please? 4 glasses of beer, please. ディアンさん、ラーメンを3つください。OK, c'est parfait. はい。4 glasses of beer, please. Beer is ビール。ビール。Why is ramen written with katakana and not hiragana? Maybe ramen is from China, I think. It's not originally Japanese word. ビールを4つください。OK, ダナさん、ビール。ロングバウエルです。ビールを4つください。OK です。はい。ビールを4つください。はい、ダビッドさん、perfecto, muy bien. はい、じゃあ次は、it's longer. 2 cups of coffee and 1 glass of cola. ディアンさん、ビールを4つください。はい、OK です。はい、2 cups of coffee and 1 glass of cola. Coke. コーヒーを2つとコーラを1つください。シュンさん、hello again. はい。コーヒーを2つと is and. コーラを1つください。Okay? It's a bit difficult. Then, please order, じゃあ、2 hamburgers and 3 Coke. 2 hamburgers and 3 Coke. コーヒーを2つとコーラを、2 hamburgers and 3 Coke. ハンバーガーを2つとコーラを3つください。そう、ハンバーガーを2つとコーラを3つください。いいですね。はい。じゃあ、じゃあね。1 sandwich. Okay? 1 sandwich. 2 cups of coffee. 1 sandwich. 2 cups of coffee. リアンさん、コーヒーを2つとコーラを2つください。1 sandwich. 2 cups of coffee. サンドイッチを1つとコーヒーを2つください。OK です。はい。皆さんいいですね。はい。Then, 1 Coke. 1 Coke. じゃあ1 Coke and 1 hamburger and 2 potatoes. 1 Coke, 1 hamburger, 2 potatoes. コーラを1つとハンバーガーを1つとポテトを2つください。コーラを1つとハンバーガーを1つとポテトを2つください。にゃにゃさんいいですね。It's very long ですね。はい。Okay, that's all for today. Thank you. はい。If you want to study Japanese more with me, please click my name on the italki schedule, live streaming schedule, and you can feel free to send me message. Okay. はい。じゃあ、ありがとうございました。さようなら。
So make sure whatever you do, you have good word of mouth about it. The fifth and final business idiom is to touch base. My manager used to say this to me a lot. To touch base means to have a very quick and short meeting about a project or something that you are working on. It might only be 5 minutes of your time, but in that time you will check that your understanding of the project is the same as your manager's understanding of the project. So I have a challenge for you. In your next lesson, I want you to ask your teacher if you can touch base about what you have learned in your lesson so far. This could be 5 minutes at the end of the lesson where you review all of the different subjects that you have been studying. You're touching base about the things you have covered so far. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to italki by clicking somewhere. And you can take a lesson with me by clicking on my teacher profile in the description box. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Welcome back to the Stop Being Boring When Speaking English video series. When speaking to native English speakers, it's useful to use a variety of vocabulary to make your conversation sound more interesting and flow. Why not spice up your language a little bit and impress others with your speaking abilities? In this next video, we will take a look at some American and British slang.
Number 1, American. John Hancock.
John Hancock.
So that's a person.
It's a name of a person, yes.
And it's American slang.
What do you think it means?
I just got John Hancock. Does it mean like wasted?
Certainly not.
Give me an example.
Okay, so can I please have your John Hancock at the bottom of this paper? Come on, you gotta get it now.
Is it your signature?
Yes, you got it! That was easy.
Okay, awesome. Number 1, British. Peak. What does peak mean?
Like, taking a peek.
Yeah, that's
Sorry, that's not taking a peek.
That's not slang.
This is taking a peek.
But that's just like taking a peek. That's not slang.
Oh,
Like in a
like
slang
a
context.
peak. Like the peak of a mountain? That's not slang. That's actually
Yeah,
what
that is the peak of a mountain.
I don't know. Tell me.
Okay, let me give you an example. So say you go out one night and you lose your purse, your keys.
Is it like the most horrible situation you can be in?
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like, that's so peak. You'd be like, oh, yeah. How was your night? It was so peak.
I just got fired. That's so peak.
Exactly. Cool. So it's like the peak of badness, I guess.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the peak.
2, American. Jacked.
Jacked. Does that mean like hench?
What does hench mean?
Like say you go to the gym.
Don't answer back with a slang word.
So the British equivalent of jacked would be hench, I think. So if someone's like really ripped.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So hench.
Go to the gym, work out a
They're
lot.
like, whoa, look at him, he's so jacked.
We would say hench. Number 2, British. Peng. Peng.
Hang.
Peng. P-E-N-G. Peng.
Like someone being hanged on the head with something? Or
Just
just thinking of bang and hang. It's similar, I don't know.
I guess it's a little similar. No.
Give me an example.
Okay, so for example, say you're eating a cake, it's delicious, you can say, oh, this is peng.
Does it just mean delicious?
You could use it in other contexts as
Does it
well.
mean like it hits the spot? You know?
Yeah, but I could also say that your eyes are peng, or a person is peng.
Just mean like extraordinarily awesome?
Basically, if you're talking about a person, you might even say peng-ting.
Painting.
Like he's a peng-ting.
Okay.
This is mostly
Kind of
London.
like he's like a 10.
Yeah, exactly.
So like the top of top.
Yeah, basically.
Number 3, American. I blew it.
I blew it.
I blew it!
What a nightmare. I blew it.
Yeah.
So that means that you've completely ruined the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say like, I didn't make it into school. So my parents will not be proud of me. I blew it.
Yeah, well, you rocked up late to work. Don't really ever do that.
Yeah. I'm never late.
Number 3, British. Having a mare. Having a mare.
Having a mare. A nightmare. Like, horrible, real nightmare. In reality, basically.
Very good. Okay, that's exactly
That's
it.
a lot easier than that. Obviously.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd go easy on you. Having a mare. You were having a mare before.
I was having a mare
Yeah.
before, not understanding anything she was saying.
Yeah, exactly. So there you have it. There's our British and American slang. Tell us what you thought of it. Did you understand it? And we'll see you next time.
My name is Vũ Nguyễn. Tên tôi là Vũ Nguyễn. It's really amazing thing for me. From italki, I can meet people around the world, and they can give me more energy to live and more inspiration to live in the world also. Very magical, yeah. When I can go on lesson and I feel that I'm doing a very good job, and then working at home is a very wonderful thing. I think that I can do something, and I'm doing something here. I think that I can say idea and talk with people. That is the first motivation for me to come here. The second thing that I can have some money for my life to make my life become better and more comfortable. It's very wonderful website of italki because italki is the connection between the every people in the world with each other. There are many purposes for us to learn a new language. Innovation is the most important. Not only study language, but also sharing idea and culture and everything else in the life. And through the learning and teaching, and we can share more idea and we can share our life better. You know that because each person have their own experience and their own knowledge and their own way of living. And when we meet new people and we think that we are discovering a new universe or a new area or something like that.
So it's wonderful that we have this diversity and we should just learn from each other. But if you at least just learn a second language and expose yourself to a second culture, not only do you understand that culture better, but you understand your own culture better. And if most people just did that and were talking openly and honestly about themselves and other people, I don't think there would be any diversity problems. Because we're all learning from each other.
He's a very good student. He studied very well and he just learned for, he just only studied for 1 month, but now he can speak very much Vietnamese. Later on, the student and the teacher can meet in a different country, and then the relationship become very good. We drink coffee together, and we go and I ride a motorbike, and I take them along somewhere beautiful together, and we talk together, and then they come back to their country, and we become teacher and student again. We study again. Yeah.
The number of refugees worldwide has reached historic levels as tens of millions of people seek asylum from conflicts in their home countries. Even for those able to reach countries willing to take them in, rebuilding their lives and careers in unfamiliar societies often proves challenging. For one group of refugees living in Istanbul, teaching online Arabic lessons to students across the world has offered a way to overcome these obstacles and establish new hope. As well as earning income, they have been able to share their experiences with people from different cultures and backgrounds, cultivating meaningful relationships with students.
My name is Rahaf and I'm from Latakia, Syria. Previously, I had a normal but busy life.
My name is Abdullah and I'm a Syrian guy from Homs, the capital of funny jokes.
Hello, my name is Amr. I'm an Arabic teacher on italki. I'm from Egypt.
Hi, I'm Hussam. I'm from Syria, Al-Hasaka, and I'm a teacher on italki now.
3 years ago, I came to Turkey, to Istanbul. Many challenges came in one time. Leaving a country is not, or leaving your home. This is one, it's like fish out of the group.
I mean, the challenge that my career is almost dead. This is the only challenge now. Online teaching, it solves this problem, of course, because you can just be wherever and get online and start your class.
What italki offered me is like new students I have never met from another continent, way far from me. Once they want to like learn my language, I feel like this is like, I feel sometimes emotional.
italki, Bessa College and NGO Small Projects Istanbul are working together on this project.
It's important for people to kind of see and get to know someone who's experiencing a difficult time or who has had a difficult past, and to just remember people are people are people. We need to remember that, we have a shared humanity, and I think that gets lost a lot in the media or in the news.
I'm teaching Arabic for first-year students of Arabic in America. We both enjoy teaching and learning online. It's an amazing experience for me as a teacher. I find it so helpful for me, also for the students.
Going into it, people might like have these assumptions that you're supposed to like learn something about refugees or like understand something new. But I think it's like most valuable to realize that like you're not really learning anything new other than that like this is like just another person just like you.
My tutor Mohammed was like so nice and so willing to work with my level of speaking and comprehension.
At the beginning, teaching online was a new experience for me, and it had a lot of challenges, but now I'm used to it, and honestly I'm enjoying teaching Arabic on italki.
I care now. I care more. I care more about the language. I care more about my students. Teaching Arabic is something valuable for me. Maybe give me hope, or I feel gain hope. It's reward for me.
Hi, I'm a language learning app.
Can we move on?
This is a dog.
I don't have a dog.
Repeat after me. This person eats bread.
I want to practice English for my job interview.
Shh. Incorrect. You haven't reached this lesson yet. Now repeat after me. This person eats bread.
Fine. This person eats bread.
That's better.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Nas and I teach English here on italki. All right, so let's see who we have today. Okay, let's see who we have in the classroom today. Let me just tell you what we are going to do. I'm not going to tell you all about me again and again and again. I think you guys now know me. And I'm Nas. I live in Turkey, in Antalya, but I'm actually South African. All right. I teach English on italki. I specialize in test preparation, IELTS and PTE. And not to toot my own horn, but most of my students score between 7 and 9 for IELTS. And I've had 2 students with PTE 90 full house. So those are results that I'm really proud of. I also am proud of the fact that we do this in 30 days. I don't like extended programs. So let's see who we have here, and we just going to check that everything is running fine. All right, guys. So I'm going to start some screen sharing with you while I just walk you through what we are going to do today. Sorry, something. Okay, let me just share my screen. Right. So today we are going to look at phrasal verbs. Not my favorite lesson, but I've tried to make it fun for you guys. We're going to start with the most interesting phrasal verbs. Then we're going to look at travel phrasal verbs. And last but not least, the office phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs you will hear in the office. Now, if you're wondering why I've put up my profile, it's really simple. If you fill in my contact form with the promo code, you get a 50% discount off the lockdown lessons. So it's not the test preparation lessons, but the lockdown lessons. And this is valid in May. For today's lesson, I'd like you to make notes. And I'd like you to try and use the phrasal verbs in your answers. All right? So if you have pen and paper handy, that would be fantastic. All right, guys. And at the end, I'm going to actually ask you a travel question, which I would like you to answer using as many phrasal verbs from the lesson as possible. You will also be able to submit your answer to me on italki, and I will make the necessary corrections. Now, getting to know you. So I don't know who's in the chat because I'm now focused on my PPT, but I'm going to kind of have a look just now. So getting to know you guys. What's the weirdest gift you've ever received? And what's the best gift someone could give you today? Okay, so not for your birthday, not in the future, today. So what's the weirdest gift? Not the worst gift, no, just the strangest gift you've ever received. And, oops, sorry, I've just messed something up here. Okay, and what's the best gift someone could give you today? I don't know why I've got subtitles. Stop. All right, I was looking for my pen actually. Right, guys. So the weirdest, the strangest gift you have ever received, perfect tense until now. And what's the best gift someone could give you today? And let's take a look at what's happening in the chat. Okay, hi David, and hi Helen, and hi Irene. Okay, great, you guys. So, are you ready to start answering some questions? We're going to do phrasal verbs today. So, what's the weirdest gift that someone has ever given you? And what's the best gift that someone could give you today? The weirdest gift, not the worst gift, the weirdest gift. Guys, if there's a time delay, please go ahead and keep typing in the chat. We've got 50 odd slides to cover today, so we're going to go a little bit fast. Okay, and how are you guys doing? Are you in lockdown? Are you free? Did you guys get a get out of jail free card? Let me know. Okay. Right, guys, put your answers in the chat. Like I said, this is just getting to know you guys. Though I think I do know some of you quite well. So, who is or was the oldest person you have ever known? And how old were they? This one's easy for me. My grandmother, and she was 104 years old. Yep. She passed away a few years ago, but she was 104 years old. At the end, she actually said that she was just tired, and I believe her. What was your first pet's name? So do you remember your first pet, and what was his name? Actually, I didn't have a pet. We had family pets, and I think our first dog, I remember, his name was Prince, and the next dog was Duke. And I don't know how they got those names, but they were all pedigrees, so maybe they came with names, not sure. All right. Now, if you could create a holiday such as Christmas or Easter or Valentine's Day or Singles Day, like they have created in China, what would you create? So if you could create your own holiday, I think there's Children's Day, there's Women's Day, there's Valentine's Day, there's Singles Day, there's Christmas, there's New Year. What holiday would you create? And if any of you guys are in China or have been to China, then you have Dragon Boat Festival, you have Mooncake Festival, Mid-Autumn, Chinese New Year, so many. So what holiday would you create? Interesting one. And what's your favorite family tradition around birthdays or holidays? For me, it's simple. I love setting a table with beautiful dinnerware, or if it's a tea party, even just, the table needs to look really beautiful. And lovely serviettes, some decorations, a vase of flowers. Lilies are my favorite. And candles. I love candles. And a cake with buttercream icing. that does it for me. The one about if I could create a holiday, I have no idea what holiday I would create. A sports day, we have Arbor Day. We call it Arbor Day. I think it's Planet Day, the first day of spring, where we actually, when I was at school, we used to plant a tree. So I don't know if you guys have that. And my last one, if you could be an animal for a day and not get eaten, what animal would you be? This is interesting. If you could be an animal for a day and not get eaten, what animal would you be? Would it be something like a deer? Would it be a teeny tiny animal? And last one, as a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? So what I'm going to do is just go through the slides again so you can look at the questions. Weirdest gift, best gift someone could give you today. The oldest person you've ever known, your first pet's name, what holiday would you create, and your favorite family tradition. So maybe at Christmas, you have Christmas gifts under the tree, decorating the tree. Last ones, if you could be an animal for a day and not get eaten, what would you be? And as a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? And let's have a look at comments. Are you guys commenting? All right. And Lynn, hi there. How are you? And Helen, the weirdest gift I've ever received was a shell box. All right. Interesting. And Irene, the weirdest gift I've ever received was a really creepy doll. Okay, but the person who gave it to you found it adorable and you didn't want to hurt their feelings, so you kept it. Hi, Daniel. Nice to see you again. I'm so happy to see you here. I rely on you to keep my lesson rolling. And Helen, your first pet was a cat and his name was Mosik. All right. And Irene, my dog, Solite. She's still alive. It means sunny. Oh, solite, sole, from sun. Okay. And Irene would like to be a hummingbird and Daniel would like to be a tiger. I'm just going to check. Hummingbird, Irene, let's add a G and it's perfect. Come on, guys. I can see lots of you watching. So don't be shy. Please interact. All right. Sharing is caring and all of that. Okay, guys, phrasal verbs today. Are you ready? Pen and paper, please make some notes because you're going to do an exercise at the end. So what are phrasal verbs? They're usually two-word phrases consisting of a verb and an adverb or a verb and a preposition. That's the technical stuff. Right. Now, for example, take out. So takeout, I saw this today and I thought it was really funny. I love that takeout means food, it means dating, and it means murder. Okay, now I want you guys to choose the numbers. All right. I think we're going to miss the last one here, but you guys will know what it is. So I'm going to buy takeout. Does that mean I'm going to buy food, murder, or date? All right. So choose 1, 2, or 3. The Godfather ordered them to take out the policeman. Did he ask them to take the policeman on a date? Number 6. Murder the policeman? Buy food for the policeman or something? 4. And I'm waiting for George Clooney to take me out. Food, murder, or number 9 will be date. Number 9 is date. If I hide this, I'm not going to be able to stop sharing the screen. All right. So, guys, have a look at this. So, is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Choose 3 numbers. 9 for George Clooney is a date. Okay, if you can't see it. Let's see what you guys have in store for me. I'm coming to check your comments. And then we're going to do interesting phrasal verbs. And it's going to be a pretty fast-moving lesson. Okay, let's see. Let's see. And David, it's difficult to choose an animal because all of them are being hunted. The safest one is man. Yes, but you're not going to be hunted. So what would you like to be? And Laura would love to be a cat. And Helen would like to try something new on her birthday. Nice. To ride a horse. Oh, so you don't ride. Okay. To play a new game such as, which reminds me, guys, I'm going to be playing bingo with you guys. I think not tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. Also, we're going to do conditionals, idioms, lots of fun stuff. Buy takeout is food. All right. David, 5 and 9. What about the first 1, 2, 3? Do you have an answer? Laura, 159, food murder date. And Helen wants to be a dolphin, 159. You guys are amazing. All right. And Helen, why would you like to be a dolphin? Let me know why you'd like to be a dolphin. All right, let's get cracking with interesting phrasal verbs. All right, I try not to bore you guys. So to beef up. To beef up means to increase or to improve something to make it more interesting. So I plan to beef up my resume, my CV. Actually, recently I received a CV from someone who was struggling to find a job, and there was actually nothing wrong with the qualifications. The CV just needed to be beefed up. And once I beefed up her CV, she got an interview within 48 hours. Okay, what do you plan to beef up? What do you plan to increase or improve? What do you plan to beef up? Your grammar skills, maybe? Think about it, guys. What do you plan to beef up? I plan to beef up my CV, even though I'm really not looking for a job or interested in a job. But I think it's something that we need to do from time to time, probably once in 6 months. Okay, maybe once a year. Right, another interesting phrasal verb. Bristle at, bristle at. Can you actually hear the sound in bristle? Right. We call that onomatopoeia, where you can hear the sound, like buzz, bristle. Okay. And that just popped into my head right now. I wasn't supposed to tell you guys about that, but sharing is caring. Bristle at, to show anger or indignation. So recently I bristled at a stupid post on Instagram. I saw something that really annoyed me and I bristled at it. Okay, I'm exaggerating. I bristled at it. What have you bristled at recently? What have you bristled at recently? And like I said, interesting phrasal verbs, different phrasal verbs. Let's do a third one, and then I'll come back to your comments. Clam up, to say nothing. So to close your mouth the way a clam closes its mouth. Now, most mobsters, okay, the mafia, the Italian mafia, clam up when they are arrested. They don't confess to anything. They just close their mouths in a way that a clam would close up. All right. When do you usually clam up? I clam up when I'm angry. I clam up when I'm annoyed. You cannot get me to speak to you if I'm angry or if I'm annoyed. And if I'm happy, you can't get me to keep quiet. So guys, I've just done 3. I'm going to go back. So if you want to make notes, feel free. Beef up. What do you plan to beef up? What do you plan to improve? Bristle at. What have you bristled at recently? Clam up, to say nothing. Okay. So when do you usually clam up? Okay. I clam up when I'm in a bad mood. Right. Let's have a look. Okay. Helen loves water and swimming. And I can't see any comments here. So let's see. Okay. So David bristled at Trump's comments on how to deal with COVID-19. Anyone else? Is there a time delay? Or are you guys just not going to comment for me today? Anything else? When do you clam up, guys? Okay, and Irene, you clam up when you are annoyed. And let's see, David plans to beef up his listening and understanding in English. All right, and how do you plan to beef it up? Do you plan to take lessons on italki? Anyone else? Daniel, where have you disappeared to? Okay, beef up, clam up. We've got lots of interesting phrasal verbs today. If you guys are test prep students, if you're taking the IELTS exam, then these will really, really help you, okay, to improve. And let's see, Helen, you plan to beef up your language skills. Fantastic. And Ekaterina, hi there and welcome back. I'm planning to beef up my working skills. Fantastic. I think now that the lockdown is over and has ended in many places, people are really interested in improving. So guys, when do you clam up? Anyone wants to share? When do you clam up? When do you usually clam up? When you're angry? When you're annoyed? All right, another interesting phrasal verb. I don't want to teach you guys the usual ones because you've probably already studied them either at a language course or with a tutor on italki. Let's look at this one, to size someone or something up. And from what I've noted, all of you guys are intermediate and above, real intermediate and above. So this is fine for you guys. So to size someone or something up is to observe someone or something to get information, to check someone or something out. Usually when someone walks into the room, we tend to size them up. We look at them from head to toe. It's something I do, unfortunately. So I size people up. I look at them and I take into account everything: the hair, the makeup, the shoes, the handbag, if it's a woman, the handbag and the shoes if it's a woman, everything about the person, because that's how, we all do rely on first impressions. And when you size someone up, yes, it is just a first impression, but you're observing someone to get more information. By looking at them, you get clues about where they are from, maybe what their occupation is, things like that. All right. Also, size up. Before lifting the lockdown, the government had to size up the situation. Now, guys, be honest with me. How often do you size someone up? Especially at a social function, we tend to size people up, and there's no need to apologize for it. Right, to crow about something. We've got something to crow about. What is to crow about? It is to brag about something, and if you are still confused, it means to show off. Okay, so if you get band 9 for IELTS, please feel free to crow about it. Show off, okay? Shout it from the rooftops. So have you, or do you ever crow about anything? I have to admit, I crow about my youngest son all the time. I think he's amazing. So I crow about him all the time. I think most moms do, but it's especially the little one, the baby. Okay, and fawn over. So this brings me back to the kids. You flatter someone or you attend to them excessively. Usually grandmothers fawn over their grandchildren. I fawn over my son. I don't have grandchildren. Well, we'll see what happens when I do have. I suppose I will fawn over them. Who do you fawn over? And let's just see what you guys have to say, just so I can check your comments. Okay. And Helen, okay, clams up when she's offended. Anybody else? Anyone else, guys? Anyone else? Who do you fawn over? Anyone else? When do you clam up? Anyone else? I really need to just check that you guys understand these phrasal verbs. Also, if you could tell me if you have heard these phrasal verbs before? And let me just check, am I missing any comments here? And let's just do a technical check. Okay, so who do you fawn over and what do you crow about? Okay, so who? Who do you fawn over and, oops, sorry, over, and what do you crow about? Okay, guys, so who do you fawn over and what do you crow about? Right, let's move on to the next ones. Wipe out, to destroy something completely, to eradicate. This is a beautiful word, and if there are any IELTS students here for problem solution essays, when they ask you for solutions, the best way to eradicate the problem, the perfect solution, the best way to eradicate the problem. So guys, what do we need to wipe out? What do we need to wipe out? Yeah, coronavirus for sure. But is there anything else that we need to wipe out? Anything that we need to wipe out? Let me know. Coronavirus, yeah. Credit card debt, yeah. Nuclear weapons, maybe. Anything else that we need to wipe out? Another phrasal verb for you guys, and these are the interesting ones. Bounce off. To bounce ideas off someone, to try an idea or concept out on someone or a group. So to bounce ideas off someone, I often bounce ideas off my friends. Who do you guys bounce ideas off? So if you guys can answer these questions, I'd also like to see how you use the phrasal verb in a sentence, that the grammar is actually correct, all right? So what do we need to wipe out and who do you bounce ideas off? Hey, Barbara. Okay. Hi there and welcome. And I can see your comments. Right. I crow about my cat. He's so cute. All right. Fantastic. Irene, I fawn over my little cousins. And Laura, I fawn over my little daughter. And Ekaterina, I think you're a little bit behind us. So if you want to join us where we are in the live, that way you can answer all of the questions. Hi, Daniel. What happened to you? All right. So who do you fawn over and what do you crow about? Great answers. What else did we have? I asked you guys who do, let me keep my glasses on so I don't make any typos. Who do you bounce ideas off? And what was the other one? Who do you bounce ideas off? And I'm going to go back. Let's have a look. And you guys can just keep putting the answers in the chat. And what do we need to wipe out, guys? What do we need to wipe out? All right, and I'm going to continue. Mull over, to think about something, to ponder or worry about something. What have you been mulling over recently? Because I said recently down here. So I often mull over important decisions. I think about them, I ponder, I worry. I'm only using it in a sentence. Actually, I think I make decisions pretty quickly. I don't usually mull over things. What about you? what do you usually mull over? And if you're interested, what are some other words for mull over? Contemplate, meditate, reflect, ruminate. I love this word. Chew over, really informal. Speculate, muse, think over, ponder. All right, guys. So those are other words for mull over. What do you usually mull over? These are not your typical phrasal verbs. These are interesting ones. These are higher level. All right. Plod along. To move along slowly but deliberately, like Mr. Tortoise up here. To be frank, right now I'm just plodding along. My life lacks energy, it lacks excitement. I'm kind of in lockdown. I'm not in lockdown today. I'll be in lockdown this weekend, but I'm also free to travel. There's this lovely video on Facebook about this woman who tells you what the rules are, and then she tells you, but don't do that. It's actually very funny. I don't know if you guys have seen it. So, are you guys just plodding along right now? All right, let me just go back so you can answer the questions. So, who do you bounce ideas off? What have you been mulling over? What do we need to wipe out? And are you just plodding along? All right. I'm going to check your comments. And then I just want you to look at some of the travel vocabulary. I know all of you guys love to travel from our past sessions. I know you guys are huge fans of traveling. So, phrasal verbs for traveling. How much luggage, sorry, just to warm up. Sorry, guys. How much luggage do you usually carry? And I'm just going to have a look at your questions, your answers. Let's see what you've got there for me. All right. Let's see. Oh, lovely. Okay. Ekaterina, we need to wipe out coronavirus. Yep. Okay, Katerina. Oh, you went with the first one. Okay, fantastic. At least I know you're with me. And Daniel wants to bounce ideas off Jeff Bezos. All right. And I'm going to go to YouTube so that I can just correct some things. Okay, so bounce ideas off. I really want you guys to think about precision now. Okay, and Ekaterina wants to wipe out coronavirus. Ekaterina, fantastic. And Nasima is mulling over the coronavirus and wondering when we will live normal lives. I have no idea. I've been mulling over what kind of job I would like to have once I graduate. Fantastic, Irene. Perfect. And I am just plodding along. Yeah, Daniel is like me. We just plodding along. Okay, well done, you guys. Fantastic. Bounce ideas off. Right. When you travel, how much of luggage do you take with you? Let's look at our travel questions before we get serious about travel phrasal verbs. How much luggage do you usually carry? So let me think. I'm allowed 20 kilos. I always buy 5 kilos extra, which is never enough. My hand luggage is supposed to be 8. It's usually 15. And I carry a backpack that probably has another 10 kilos, which accounts for back problems. So I would safely say that my luggage is about 45 to 50 kilos, actually more than I weigh. How much luggage do you carry? One big suitcase, a wheelie, a hand luggage, wheelie, and my backpack. And honestly, if I could fit anything else on my teeny tiny body, I would add it. What about you guys? How much luggage do you usually carry? And if you were going on a camping trip for a week, what 10 things would you take? First of all, you're not going to get me to go camping. Second, you're not going to get me to go camping for a week. I am the kind of person who likes spas, who likes hotels, and I'm not interested in going camping for a week, for a day, overnight. But what 10 things would you take? Sleeping bag. What else? You see, I really don't know anything about camping. Sleeping bag, pillow, towel, mosquito repellent, canned food maybe? Okay, guys, help me because as you can see, I'm hopeless. What was the last place you visited? The last place I visited was Italy, Milan and the lake area where the big outbreak is. And where would you like to go when this is all over? Easy, St. Petersburg. I really want to go to St. Petersburg, which seems to have the highest outbreak. So I'm living dangerously. I'm really living on the edge. Right, let me check out your answers before I teach you some travel phrasal verbs. And I see I have new comments. All right, let's have a look. Okay, so Daniel, you usually carry a huge hand luggage. Okay, just a hand luggage, nothing else. And the last place you visited was Argentina and you loved it. And where would you like to go next? And Irene, if you're still there, or Laura, anyone else? Oh, great, Laura, just as I mentioned your name. The last place I visited was Tenerife in the Canary Islands last year. Fantastic. Did you enjoy it? And where would you like to go next? And Laura, if you're around, okay. And sorry, Laura, I mean Helen, if you're around, Irene, anyone else out there? Okay, and you'd like to go to Thailand, Daniel. Any particular reason why? Okay, and how much of luggage do you guys carry? I'm really interested in this because I feel a bit guilty about the amount of luggage that I carry. So if you guys can, just tell me how much of luggage do you carry? If you were going on a camping trip for a week, what 10 things would you take? And you can type this in later in the chat. Just think about it. I really would like to know what people take when they go camping. Right. Have you ever had a bad travel experience? And this is a joke because they're saying it's a bed and breakfast. So technically it is a bed and breakfast. It's not the kind of travel experience I would like to have. Have I ever had a bad travel experience? Yeah, once. I went to a hotel in Borneo, which is on the border of Italy and Switzerland. And it was a really beautiful hotel, but the service was awful. All right, are you guys ready for travel phrasal verbs? Get your pen and paper out, start making notes. See off. See off means to go to the airport or to the station or to say goodbye to someone. So who was the last person you saw off at the airport? And if your kids go to school by school bus or with a group, maybe you have, parents who get together and different parents take kids to school on different days. You see off your children in the morning. So see off means to go to the airport or station or to say goodbye to someone when they are going away. You are not going, they are going away. Important to remember. Right. Now, I'm going to ask you to do this at the end, and I'd like you to submit your answers. So think about this when we are doing the phrasal verbs. Where are you going to go the next time you travel? Where, why, when, where are you going to go? Okay. Who are you going with? How long are you going for? What are you going to do there? And there's some phrasal verbs for this. And what kinds of things do you think you will buy? Souvenirs. This is really going to help you guys who are studying IELTS. And by the way, this is where I am, and this is where I used to be, and this is where I'd like to go. All right. Right, so here, guys, I want you to send your answer to my profile and I will correct it for you. It's 100% free. That's my profile. Just click on it, send me a, fill out teacher form kind of thing and send me a message with your answer. Right, set off. Start a journey. When will you set off on this vacation once the coronavirus situation has stabilized? Check in. Arrive and register at a hotel or at the airport. Now, when I check in at the airport with all my luggage, they really do charge me a lot for my overweight. So check in at the hotel or at the airport. I prefer to check in at the hotel because they don't harass me. And, I mentioned bristle at something. Yeah, well, at the airport, when they really difficult about my luggage being overweight, I bristle at that because I'm really light. My weight, I'm under 50 kilos, so I should be allowed extra luggage. That's my logic. Okay. I think that the check-in procedures are going to be a nightmare when we start traveling again. I heard that they want people to check in 6 to 8 hours before a flight. That's just insane. So check in. Get away, to have a holiday or a vacation. So as soon as the restrictions are lifted, I want to get away. I want to get away and I want to go to St. Petersburg and I'm going to check in at the airport with just my hand luggage. And I hope that my friends come to see me off. Did you guys see what I did? I used all of those phrasal verbs in my answer, and that's what I want you to do. And if you're an IELTS student, please do it, okay? Where do you want to get away to? And let's see what you guys have to say to me. All right, guys. So, let me go backwards. Okay. Daniel, for camping, you're going to tell me what I should take with me. All right. And Irene, Galicia, oh, you did the Camino de Santiago. It was wonderful, though very hard on my feet. Irene, did you do it on your own or did you do it with one of those companies? I am determined to do that. One of my friends did it last year. She got really tired at the end, but she hadn't prepped for it enough. So I really want to do this. And Helen, if I were going camping for a week, I would take a sleeping bag, okay? Guys, please don't be offended when I correct things, but I love precision, all right? A tent, matches, some canned food, a cup, my mobile phone, a power bank. Oh, yes, absolutely. A toothbrush, toothpaste, and a hairbrush. Love it. And Irene, I would love to visit the beach when this is over. And Laura, you'd like to visit Florence in Italy. All right. Yeah, one of my favorite cities. And Daniel, sleeping bag, lighter, dry food, survival kit. Don't even know what that is. Repellent for mosquito and a medical kit. And Daniel saw his parents off at the airport. And Laura carries a large suitcase and a handbag. Okay. And Helen, okay. The next time I travel, I will go to Menorca Island. No, Daniel, I haven't been there, but tell me all about it. I want to get away to the Caribbean Sea, maybe to Cuba. I did the islands, the Bahamas, and they were amazing. All right, you guys, still with me? I'm just going to check if I'm missing anything in the, sorry guys, in our stream. Okay, Laura, you want to go to your second home on the beach. Okay, and Helen, the next time you travel, you want to go to Greece. All right, one of the islands or to Athens? I love the islands. I went to Paros and to Santorini, and I really prefer Paros. It was amazing. I stayed there for 2 weeks, and I think that's what we all need. Irene did the Camino with her best friend. Okay, and you're planning to do it again when the quarantine is over. Irene, are you super fit? I can walk about 10 to 15 kilometers a day if I have to, and when I'm in Italy at the lake. So do you think I would manage? What's your advice to me on walking the Camino? Do I have to really prep for it? And I'd like to know. I'd love some feedback. Also, if you could give me some details on my profile, I'd love that. All right. Look around, explore what's near you, what's in your area. Sometimes I go into stores just to look around, kind of window shopping. All right. Also, when I go to new cities, I look around just to experience the place, to explore. Look around. Look forward. Look forward to something that's going to happen in the future. It means to expect something, but in a pleasurable way. So what are you looking forward to? And by the way, guys, please let me know whether your lockdown has ended. I'd love to know. Right. A few more questions so that you guys don't get bored with phrasal verbs only. Have you ever taken a package tour? And how do you spend your time when you are on holiday and the weather is bad? So not when you are at home, but when you go on holiday and the weather is bad, what do you do? So have you ever taken a package tour? Yes, I did. When I went to Santorini, it was a day tour. It was the only way to get to Santorini. So I wouldn't call it a package tour. It was a day tour. And I really didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. So I don't think I'll ever take a package tour. I like to look around and explore on my own. And when I'm on holiday and if the weather is bad, I go shopping and I look around. And sometimes I shop. And I also go to museums and I look around. Let's look at stopover. What's the longest stopover that you have ever had? So a stopover means you stop somewhere for a short time during a long journey. When I fly to South Africa on Emirates, I always stop over in Dubai. The stopover could be anything between 3 hours to 8 hours. Now, recently my government said that they are willing to repatriate us from Antalya back to South Africa. And the tickets are crazy. They're $2,500, whereas they're normally $600, $700. But the bigger problem is that it's Qatar Airways, and the stopover in Doha would be 36 hours. So it might be 5 days before I get home. It would be faster probably to swim. Okay, so you guys, what's the longest stopover you have ever had? Irene, okay. Daniel, Menorca has wonderful beaches and the beautiful blue water. Okay, fantastic. And Irene, you don't think, okay, I would need much practice. The hardest we did was 25 kilometers a day. It's hard but rewarding. Okay, you will have to heal by yourself. Daniel, how do I heal by myself? The blisters. Okay, so was it this summer? I was in Italy for 5 weeks and I walked 250 kilometers and no blisters because I wear Italian sneakers and they're amazing. But if you do have blisters, how do you deal with it? Okay, guys, so back to my questions there. What was the longest stopover that you've ever had? What was the longest stopover that you have ever had? And then I'm going to share my screen with you while we do a few more phrases. Okay. Hey, Raphael, how are you? Thank you for joining us. By the way, guys, the lessons continue until this Friday, so keep tuning in. All right, go abroad. To go abroad is to go to another country that's not where you live. All right. I'm not sure. When I go to South Africa, am I going abroad? Or is it when I come to Antalya that I'm going abroad? Interesting one. Simple one, when I go to Italy, I am traveling abroad. Okay, have you ever been abroad? Most of you guys who live in Europe, yeah, you travel to other countries all the time. You're really lucky. And are you afraid of going abroad alone? Actually, I've been to Spain alone. I've been to Barcelona alone. I've been, oh wow, to China alone. Also to Bangkok. I'm trying to think where else. I'm thinking on my own, all alone. Brazil, yeah, Sao Paulo, and to Rio, also Porto Alegre. And actually, I'm not afraid of going abroad alone. I want to go to St. Petersburg in Russia alone. All right, touchdown. So the moment the plane touches the ground and lands, I'm usually a little nervous at touchdown. And when I say a little nervous, I just hold the seat in front of me. And it's only in those few seconds because I've read a few articles that most accidents, aviation accidents involving planes, of course, happen during takeoff or at touchdown. And recently in February, when I went to Italy, the day before, a flight here in Istanbul, actually the plane landed and the plane broke in three because it was pilot error and bad touchdown. So what was your best trip and what was your worst trip, if you want to tell me about that? Okay, I'm going to check your comments and then very quickly go through the business phrasal verbs. All right, are there any comments for me to check? All right, guys. So if there aren't, oh, all right, Irene, I've been abroad to Poland. Okay, in high school, you and your 5 classmates stayed for a week. And met other high schoolers from Poland, Italy, Turkey, and Lithuania. That's really interesting. Fantastic. Irene, you do enjoy traveling. I think you're a lot like me. Fantastic. All right. And yep, I'm not getting the comments. I don't know if there's a time delay, guys. Right, what I'm going to do now is go through the business phrasal verbs really quickly. I'm not going to come back to you guys, but please keep typing in the chat because in the last maybe 5 minutes, I want to check your comments. All right, guys? How does that work for you? Right. So back to business phrasal verbs. And we're going to do kick off, check in, go through, clock in, clock out, start up, and call back. So to kick off means to start something like a big project. So YouTube, italki live on YouTube kicked off. When was it? 4 weeks ago? And have you guys been enjoying it? Check in means to update or give a status report, to check new information. All right. So to check in means to give an update or a status report. Go through something or go over. Let's go through your essay. Let's go over your essay. It means let's review it. All right. So this is in business English, it would be any kind of document. Let's go through it. Let's go over it. Also, legal documents. If you sit down with your lawyer or your attorney, you normally go through the documents. You review them before you sign. That's the smart thing to do. Generally speaking, we all just go sign here, and we're done. Clock in and clock out. Clock in is to check in at your office, which I think you guys are not doing right now. It begins your workday officially. So even if you're working remotely, you register the time you begin work. So what time do you clock in? And clock out is the opposite to register the time when you leave work, when you finish work for the day. So what time do you clock in? When I taught in Istanbul, I think I clocked in at 8 and I clocked out at 10 p.m. I worked long days and 7 days a week doing test preparation and also teaching VIPs in Istanbul. In fact, even one of the ministers So what time do you clock in? What time do you clock out? Nowadays, I clock in at 12 noon and I clock out at 10 p.m. That's the last lesson that I take for the day. All right, start up means begin something. So this is not the same as a startup. Okay, a startup, which is one word, is a new company. Okay, this is to start up something, like to start a new policy or a new project. But startup as one word, it's, you know, when we talk about startup companies, new companies, that's different. Callback, simple, return a phone call. Make up for, compensate. So if there's a problem in a project, for example, a delay, a schedule change, something unexpected happens, you need to compensate for that. Compensate, make up. So you need to make changes to fix that problem. You make up for. How do you make up for lost time? If you lose time, how do you make up for lost time? For example, on a project. Generally speaking, you would work overtime. All right, guys. Now, let me just go through those slides again. So if you need to make notes or whatever, you can. So kick off, to start a big project. Good job. Check in, to give an update. Check in with your boss. Go through a document. Well done. Clock in and clock out. I really want to know what time you guys are clocking in and what time you are clocking out. Start up a new policy, a new project. Call back, return a phone call. So if I'm in a live lesson, my phone is on silent, and if someone calls me, I obviously don't take the call. I call back. And make up, when you need to compensate for something. It could be time, it could be money, all right? So I've had a problem with a refrigerator that's driving me insane. And I also had the service team come in to fix it without gloves or masks, and I was afraid about coronavirus. So to make up for their mistake, the company sent in a disinfectant team last week, and it was crazy. They came with their hazmat suits and the masks and the goggles, and it was insane. All right, guys. Now we're going to finish off with travel phrasal verbs, and I've asked you to submit your answers to my page on italki and try to use as many of these as possible. All right, and it's set off. Remember, set off. Yeah, leave, get away, look forward to, look around, go abroad, stop over. And I still want to know, what's the longest stopover you have ever had? All right. And if you guys would like me to put this up, or you can screenshot it, go for it. Or you can watch the video later and create your answer. So send your answer to my profile. Also, if you want lessons, there's the promo code. Here we go. And it's less 50% off the lockdown lessons. Also, upcoming classes. On Thursday at 2 o'clock, it's people idioms, but it's not your usual people idioms. It's interesting idioms, different idioms, and I'd like you to come to class with some of your own. And on Friday, again, it's not just interesting idioms, but also how these idioms came about. So there's a bit of theory there, but I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Let's see if there are any more comments. Sorry, guys. All right. If there are any more, what's going on here? Oopsie daisy, sorry. I just want to check if there are any more comments. Okay, guys. So did you guys understand all of those phrasal verbs? Let me know in the chat. And also thank you everyone for attending. Like I said, there's the promo code if anyone wants to take lockdown lessons. Okay. And Daniel, you lost the other phrasal verbs. Okay. Which ones, Daniel? If you just send me a message, I can send you the PowerPoint or I can just give you the list. So on Thursday, we're doing different people idioms, interesting people idioms, hopefully people idioms you haven't heard before. And on Friday, the last class of the day, please note that Thursday it's an earlier slot, Friday it's the last slot of the day, and we're going to do really interesting idioms, but also how those idioms came about. And we're going to play bingo on Thursday and on Friday, and maybe there'll be a prize for someone who gets or who wins the bingo. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's always fun hanging out with you guys, and stay safe until I see you guys on Thursday. Earlier slot, I think it's 2 p.m., not 3:15, and on Friday it's the later slot. Thank you everyone for watching. Stay safe. Ciao.